Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Anko gives Naruto comfort during the hard time harem part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto Uzumaki. A lone figure walked the desolate streets of Konoha, once again bleeding and in pain. He was a small boy for his age, with a head full of blonde hair, and eyes so blue they rivaled the ocean's luster. He had what looked like whiskers on both cheeks. The black t-shirt he was wearing was torn, battered, and covered in dirt. The boy looked like he had been on the bad end of a beating, which he had been. It had happened only a few hours ago, and the boy remembered it well. After all, how many times had he been on the receiving end of that beating in his short life? 100 times? 1,000? He could no longer count the times he had faced such abuse, but this time, something was different. When they had beat him nearly into unconsciousness, and the sweet relief of that darkness, they had stopped. An ANBU had stopped them from rendering the boy immobile, telling the crowd to disperse before they were deemed to have taken criminal action. The villagers left in a hurry, leaving Naruto and the ANBU alone. Instead of making any attempt to heal Naruto as some of the other ANBU may have done, he instead knelt down next to the prone Naruto and spoke to him in a voice so filled with hate, it seemed to thicken the air. You are a disease. Your continued existence a joke, and if I could I would end you here and now, but those are not my orders. So instead you will lay here in your blood, and the dirt, and the trash. You may heal at a faster rate than most, but after that beating I can imagine it'll take a long while. I hope it is as slow and painful as all those lives you once ended. Naruto. Standing, the ANBU made a few hand signs to disappear, adding at the last moment, and don't hope for any help, my partner and I agree you should pay, and we will be the ones watching you struggle in the dust like so many of our fallen comrades. How many of their pleas for mercy did you ignore? How much blood was shed that never seemed to sate your thirst? With that, the shinobi was gone. The ANBU was right that it took a long time for Naruto to heal, but in the moments that he had stood over Naruto and spoke, something broke inside Naruto. This time he could not get the image of the villagers beating him out of his mind, the ANBU standing over him, the death that everyone seemed to pray and hope for. It all came crashing down on the 5-year-old as the tears he always fought so hard to keep at bay started to fall. He knew without a doubt, this village he called home hated him. The amount of people Naruto thought truly cared for him, he could count on one hand. Looking at his hand, it started to shake as he began to wonder, what if Hokage Gigi doesn't really care about me? Isn't he supposed to control the ANBU? Isn't he the one that always tells me he cares? Naruto thought over these questions and fell to his knees as the conclusion came to him. No, the Hokage doesn't care about me. He's known about these beatings ever since the first incident. He does control the ANBU, that's why they always step in after I get a beating. The stream of Naruto's tears slowed as he thought to himself and completely stopped as his little heart broke on the last thought. Just words. That's all it ever was to him. He doesn't know, he never cared. With those thoughts echoing in his mind, Naruto decided he had had enough. He was done trying to put on a smile as it was kicked out of him every day. Why pretend to be happy when each day he was treated just as coldly as before? With a dead look in his eyes, Naruto began walking. Anko Midarashi. It was getting late as lone woman walked through the red light district. She had on what others would call questionable at best, and unsavory at worst. She didn't give a damn about their opinions of her style though, as what she had one she thought did the job she needed them to do. One might wonder what shinobi sandals, ankle guards, a short orange battle skirt, fishnet shirt, and a trench coat would get done, but that was besides the point. Anko had justified her wardrobe countless times, but everyone still either gawked or glared when she would pass them by. Well, screw them all. I am sick of them thinking I may. Anko's thoughts were interrupted as a couple drunk men called out to her. Hey there! Why don't you come over here and join the party? Wouldn't want a pretty woman like you deprived of pleasant company. Am I right, men? The rest of the drunks cheered for their friend, and so he thought he had successfully picked up a girl when she stopped and walked back with a smile on her face. As she approached though, the drunks slowly sobered up as he realized that rather than a warm, inviting smile, the near-stripped woman before him had a smile that froze the blood in his veins. Pleasant company, huh? You're right, I would enjoy that. The smile that terrified the men still on her face, she proceeded to say more, watching the men grow in both fear and astonishment. I actually work for TNI. For those of you here too drunk to remember what that means, it stands for torture and interrogation. My idea of pleasant company are the broken bodies I leave in pools of blood. So who wants to go first? The smile only intensified as the drunks only gazed at her in horror, unable to say a single word. Sighing, Anko finally dropped the smile, opting to instead reach forward and grab the entire bottle of sake off the table. Turning away from the drunken men, Anko took a swig straight from the bottle. Wait, she took the sake. One of the drunk men protested when she was a good distance away. Do you know who that was? That was the snake whore of Konoha. Man, you're lucky she took just the sake bottle, not your life. Anko drank another swig from the bottle at those words. The ones that had haunted her ever since her old sensei had abandoned her snake whore. It had somehow started on the lips of the few, but soon enough all of Konoha knew her as that title. There were a few other titles that they had added as well, but Anko didn't give a damn about acknowledging that kind of crap. She had better things to do with her time. Speaking of which, she took another swig of sake. Almost gone already? Damn, I needed something to take the edge off. I guess I could always buy more. As that last thought hit her, she checked her wallet on the inside of her coat and came to a realization. Shit. I can't be out of funds again already. I still need to pay off a month of rent. Maybe I could convince the Hokage to give me a few missions for decent pay. Lost in her thoughts, Anko had managed to meander and walk out onto a lonely bridge over by the bathhouses. Snapping out of it, she looked up, noticing for the first time since leaving the red light district she was not alone. Standing at the edge of the bridge was some kid looking out at the water. She looked out where he was looking and saw nothing really of note. The moon was on the other side, so he wasn't staring at that. No birds out there or people. What are you searching for, kid? Anko was so busy analyzing him, she almost failed to notice he was now standing on top of the guardrail. Almost. What the hell are you doing, kid? Anko yelled to him, trying to see if he would answer as she walked forward. She got her answer as the kid slowly leaned in and fell towards the water. So he's going swimming? Why the hell dive off the bridge? Anko's confusion deepened as Bubble came up from the dark water, but not the kid. That's a lot of bubbles. Come on, kid, got to come up for air sometime. As Anko watched, the flow of bubbles slowed, then stopped. Shit! Without another thought, Anko took off her coat and dived into the water. Hitting it, Anko was amazed that there wasn't a layer of ice on top. Hot damn! This water is freezing. What is that kid thinking? Quickly spotting the boy, she saw his eyes were closed, and he didn't look like he was struggling. Swimming down to him, she grabbed his tattered shirt and dragged him up towards the surface. Anko managed to pull him out of the water, and towards a small pad under the bridge used to help get to the sides and a ladder that could be used to get up to the streets. Taking stock of the situation, Anko soon realized why the bubbles weren't coming up anymore. The kid wasn't breathing. Anko worked quickly, pumping his chest twice and performing CPR. After a few agonizing moments where Anko wasn't sure if the kid was coming back, he soon was sputtering and coughing up all the water that he had inhaled. Anko let out a relieved sigh as the boy attempted to completely recover, and before Anko knew it, he had thrown himself against her chest as he cried hard enough to rock his little body. Putting her arms around him, she wondered just what was going through his mind. Naruto. A few minutes before the jump. Cammy, I know just how much everyone hates me. It's pretty obvious now, so I'll make you a deal. Show me just one person who cares, anyone, and I will stop now. Naruto continued walking towards the bridge, waiting for that someone, but no one appeared before Naruto. That's what I thought. Naruto looked out at the water, taking in the serenity of it all. This is what everyone wants. It would be peaceful like this all the time if I was gone. He picked himself up, getting on top of the guardrail. I guess this is goodbye. A lone tear fell from Naruto's eyes as he pitched his body slightly forward, hearing a woman's voice call out to him. What the hell are you doing, kid? He didn't turn as he fell into the water with a splash. The frigid water hit Naruto hard as he fell further into its embrace. So this is what it's like to drown. This isn't too bad. As the bubbles left Naruto and went up towards the surface, he closed his eyes, losing himself in the still water. As the last of Naruto's air left his body and traveled upwards, he was hit with a burning sensation from his lungs. His body was demanding air and he knew it, but still he fought to keep from panicking. This is what everyone wants, though they always say that they would rather I die. A deep breath and the cold water flooded Naruto's lungs. It's so cold the burning sensation was replaced with something else as he frantically began breathing in and out, attempting to get air to his brain with it, not realizing that the process didn't work well with water. It demanded oxygen, and the way to get it was breathing. This is what everyone wants, right? Naruto's mind was trying to make him swim up, but he didn't have the strength to move anymore. He was still tense and hurting from the beating he took. Everyone but me, someone, anyone help. Naruto's last thoughts as the darkness claimed him. Coughing and sputtering, Naruto got rid of a large portion of water that had recently resided in his lungs to see a woman kneeling next to him, giving him some space to get rid of the water. She was dripping wet, looking relieved that he was breathing again. Without hesitation, Naruto buried his head in her chest, hugging himself to her as he cried. She saved me, she actually saved me, the one everyone hates, but she saved me. His tears hardly did anything to make the shirt he was clinging to any wetter as she put her arms around him and rocked him gently. Thank you, Cammy, you did send someone. I won't give this person up. I swear it. Naruto vowed to himself that he would somehow, someway, and someday thank this woman for saving him in more ways than one. Wow, the kid is crying pretty hard. I wonder what he's thinking. Anko continued holding the boy until the tears slowly stopped and he finally let go of her. She was relieved he had let her go, but was surprised to see why he had let her go. The kid was now bowing to her on his knees, his head to the cold concrete they were on at the moment. I don't know why you saved me, but thank you. The kid still hadn't risen from his bowing posture, and it was making Anko feel a bit awkward. Don't worry about it, kid. It was no problem. Hey, you got a name? Anko figured she should at least know just who it was that she saved, and noticed as his shoulders slumped, as if he didn't want to say his name. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Anko quickly put together a mental picture of the Jinchuriki, and couldn't understand why the boy had jumped into the water. He always seemed so go-lucky when I saw him in the street. What happened to him? Well, my name's Anko Mitarashi and I'm the better known as the sexiest kunoichi in Konoha. She added the last part with a small laugh, when Naruto looked up at her. Alight, thank you for saving me, Mitarashi-san. Again Naruto bowed to Anko. Don't get all formal on me, kid. Just call me Anko. I don't like the formality crap when I have to do it, and hearing it from you it doesn't seem any better. Naruto sat up finally as Anko finished speaking. Now tell me why you tried to go swimming just a minute ago. A look of complete and utter confusion passed over Naruto's face. Swimming? I don't know how to do that. Anko stared at Naruto and asked slowly, You don't know how to swim? Naruto nodded his head. Then why did you jump into the water? You could have killed yourself like a little idiot. Anko, that was the idea. Naruto looked at the floor as Anko tried to absorb that little piece of information. You were attempting to kill yourself, Naruto? Another nod, as if Naruto was ashamed to speak. Why? What the hell were you thinking? Anko's anger at his attempt shocked Naruto. He had never met anyone that would have been mad that he had attempted, now failing that was another matter altogether. Naruto gave a small shrug of his shoulders and looked down at the ground before he spoke. Nobody wants me around, everyone hates me. I know that when I get hurt I can heal really fast, so cutting myself or something was out, and I thought of falling off the monument, but I don't know how to get up to the top. So my last idea was to drown. Naruto calmly spoke as if he was discussing the weather with Anko, rather than his attempt at suicide. Naruto, there was compassion in her voice, something Naruto found a bit odd. You shouldn't care what those idiots think. It's your life. Do you want it to end? Naruto thought on how to answer that. It was quiet as Naruto decided what he should say next. I want to live. Anko smiled slowly. Then let me teach you just what that means, Gaki. Naruto frowned at the last bit, but Anko's grin only widened. Looks like I'm going to be teaching the kid a few tricks. What did I just sign up for? Naruto didn't know, but he was going to find out. Naruto. God, so tired going back to sleep. Naruto's morning was not going well. He was groggy and sore as hell from last night. He couldn't even remember anything after telling Anko he wanted to live. Grabbing the blanket, he rolled over trying to stay warm and get back to the sweet dreams he had been having about ramen. Ugh, the hell? Naruto vaguely remembered the feminine voice grumbling at him, but he just wasn't awake enough to remember. Without warning, the blanket got a sudden yank, flipping Naruto back over and causing him to lose the blanket entirely. Naruto quickly began to shiver as the frigid morning air bit into his skin. That's my blanket, lady. Reaching forward, Naruto grabbed a fistful of blanket and was about to yank it back. Touch me and I'll kill you. Slowly. Naruto very cautiously let go off the blanket. That's right, punk, now hand over the sake. Zzzzzzzzz. Oh, thank you, Kami. I won't soon forget this lesson. Naruto slowly backed off the bed away from the bundle of blankets that housed Anko. Alright, so I guess I came home last night with Anko. Strange, I don't remember mentioning where I live. Naruto was absolutely correct that he hadn't told Anko where he had lived. It didn't take a Nara to realize that without knowing where Naruto lived, Anko had decided she would go somewhere else. Namely, her house. Standing in the middle of her bedroom, Naruto also realized two other important things other than the fact he was in Anko's home. First, that her place was just as messy as his home, so it didn't feel too strange to Naruto. Aside from the fact that everywhere was dango plates instead of ramen, it could have been an exact replica of his home. Second, he was standing in her house with just his boxers. Where did my clothes go? Least that explains why it's freezing in here. Looking around, the first thing he found was his shirt. His tattered, worn, and close to destroyed black t-shirt. Least it's something. Throwing it on, it helped to insulate his body slightly, even if it was rather breezy. Looking around, he finally spotted just where his shorts had gotten to. How the hell do shorts end up on a curtain rod? If anything, Naruto was rather impressed his shorts managed to get there instead of pissed, but to get them back on. That's right, bleed on that nice clean floor, I like the colors. Zzz. How do I reach up there without standing on the bed? Naruto spent the better part of 5 minutes trying to decide if freezing to death or dying by Anko's hands was better. Least if she kills me it will be quicker, and I'll be able to feel my legs. Making up his mind, Naruto got back up on the bed slowly. The bundle didn't move as his weight shifted the bed. So far so good. Reaching up, Naruto stretched to the window reaching for his shorts. Almost there, come on. Try and reach as he might, from his position on the far end of the bed, he just wasn't tall enough to make it. It was just barely out of his reach, and try and strain as he might he still couldn't grab them. Here goes nothing. Moving a little closer to Anko, he stretched yet again for his shorts. Reaching for them again, Naruto managed to get a hand on them. Smiling and breathing a little easier, he gave them a light tug to get them off the pole, but with that small tug he paid a dangerous price. Naruto started falling forward. Oh crap! They're stuck. Naruto's dangerous lean was turning into a fatal fall. Oh please Kami, let me live through whatever Anko is planning. Naruto fell into the bundle of blankets and in a flash she reached out her arms and hugged him. Anko pulled him into the bundle of blankets with her and softly said, "Warm, okay? Guess she wasn't going to murder me. Pretty warm in here. Least he wasn't going to freeze to death anytime soon." She held him close, and after a very short moral dilemma, he set his head on her chest. It was actually quite comfortable, and her heartbeat slowly made Naruto drowsy, pulling him into sweet darkness. Anko was having the most wonderful dreams. Wonderful for her, but others might think it a bit more terrifying. Still, she was happy and content. Sweet dreams, dango in the fridge, and something warm cuddled up against her breasts. What more could a girl ask for? Wait, something warm. Slowly she opened one eye and looked down. Sleeping comfortably on one of her breasts with an arm around her was Naruto. She could remember last night after she had saved him with ease. She wasn't sure when she had turned into a pillow, but she didn't mind it too much. Kid put off body heat, and she hated the morning cold. Flashback the night before. I want to live. Naruto's answer made her smile as she thought about what she had in store for the kid. Then let me teach you just what that means, Gaki. He frowned a bit on the last word. Don't like the nickname kid? Too bad. Her thoughts made her smile even wider. Naruto then swayed, his eyes slowly shutting, before he started falling forward. With Anko's reflexes, he had only dropped a few inches before she grabbed him, keeping him from knocking his head into the concrete they were sitting on. Kid must have only been just holding it together. Maybe should have waited a bit for him to recuperate from drowning. Oh well. Guess I'll just take him back to his house so he can shit. Where does he live? Asking him where he lived so she could take him back must have slipped her mind after hearing his little rant. Well, what do I do with a drenched and unconscious 5-year-old? Not like I can leave him out here, Jinchuriki or not, he'll freeze. Screw it, I'll just bring him to my house. Least there he can sleep in a bed. Picking up Naruto, she didn't bother going for the ladder to get back on the street, instead opting to just use a bit of chakra in her legs to jump up to the bridge. Landing, she began the short walk to her house. I'll have to figure out something for money later. Damn, hope the landlord doesn't bitch too much. I don't think I want to deal with that little headache in the morning. Walking back into the red light district, Anko went about the familiar streets, taking a few shortcuts to get back home faster. Luckily, she hadn't seen anyone on her way, so there wasn't any need to explain why Naruto was passed out over her shoulder. Thank Kami for that small bit of luck at least. Walking up to her apartment building, she took a careful look at her home. There were places where it was obvious 2 different paints had been used, spots where the boards had rotted through leaving holes, a few places had clumsy repairs, and the sign was in such disrepair it was only hanging by a single rusted chain. It's good to be home. It's not perfect, hell, even calling it terrible is an understatement, but it's still home. It was one of the only places that she wasn't hassled about who her teacher had been. As long as she paid the rent, nobody cared about her backstory. I'll have to talk to the manager to make sure he doesn't try and kick me out. He knows I'm good for the money most of the time. Taking the key to her apartment, she slipped it into the lock, and with a bit of a struggle to turn it got the door open. Stepping into her place, she grimaced a bit at the piles of crap all over. Damn, forgot I haven't cleaned out this place in weeks. Too much work and sake. Hope the kid doesn't mind the mess. I sure as hell am not spending the night cleaning. Walking over to the bedroom, she set Naruto down on a chair for a moment. He was shivering from the cold clothes that still clung to his body, but other than that he seemed fine. Guess I have to get him out of those and dry him off. Looking around for a relatively clean towel, she spotted one on the ground by her dresser. Guess that will work. Grabbing it, she looked it over and didn't find anything wrong with it, so she proceeded to dry off the shivering Naruto and herself. She dried him about as well as she could, but with his shirt and shorts still soaked it wasn't helping him warm up much. Alright, time to strip, kid, can't have you getting pneumonia. Pulling off his shirt, she draped it behind him on the chair. Getting his shorts off too, she decided to leave him in his boxers. Can't have people thinking anything weird. Holding the shorts, she looked around for a spot to hang them to dry. Everywhere was either covered in trash, her clothes, or plates. Everywhere except one spot. Looking at the curtain rod skeptically, she decided it would have to do. Putting them on the edge of the rod, she laughed at the sight of his shorts hanging on the end like a small flag. Guess I finally managed to make a mess of every part of the apartment. Quickly pulling her own clothes off, she grabbed another towel and dried herself, tossing it to the side before throwing on a shirt she had hung up in her closet for if she felt like having something on in the night. Picking up Naruto, she felt him shift around and put his arms around her, resting his head against her. You had better be asleep, kid. She silently raged for a moment but didn't sense Naruto move around at all. He must be actually out. I'll just drop him into bed and take the couch. Hopefully the crap on there doesn't make too much noise when I push it onto the floor. Gently setting the sleeping Naruto into the bed, and pulling up the blanket on him to try and help him stay warm. Turning away from him, she made a move towards the couch and was stopped by a hand grabbing onto the edge of her shirt. Please don't go. I don't want to be all alone, please stay. The hell? I could have sworn the Gaki was completely incoherent. Taking a step back, she turned to Naruto in her bed. His eyes were still closed, and his chest slowly rose and fell to his even breathing. I must have imagined he said anything. Gently easing her shirt out of his hand, she took a step back, still watching him. As soon as she left the immediate vicinity of Naruto, his hand withdrew and he clutched it to himself. His face looked like he was having some kind of nightmare, and the hand he had just pulled and shook a little, making it obvious that whatever it was terrified him. Kami, you have a twisted sense of humor. Sighing, she went back to her bed and stepped over Naruto to be a bit closer to the window. At least that way she could look outside until he settled down and let her go to bed on the couch. Can't believe he's moving around so much. What can he be thinking about? Maybe whatever made him jump. Very slowly, she eased herself down onto the bed next to Naruto, who, feeling her presence, calmed down. She stared out the window with no company but the sleeping child and her thoughts. How many times had I thought of doing the same thing when Orochimaru left me all alone? When he left me to the villagers' hatred and their taunts after the hell he put me through, I thought there would be somebody that could understand I wasn't the same, but no, I earned the title of Snake Whore. How many times did I try and hold it all together while they told me I deserved to die? How many times did I think they were right? All those times I kept from ending it all, knowing that before I die, I want to see Orochimaru dead first. I want all the pain I went through to show on his face as he begs for mercy, the same way I did all those years ago. Naruto, you won't end up like me. I swear. Closing her eyes, she slowly drifted off as the last one bore its place into her. No one innocent should feel this kind of pain. She hadn't even realized it, but as she had thought to herself, she somehow managed to work her way under the blanket with him. In her drowsy state, she even put a hand around him, changing Naruto's nightmare. The dreams. Naruto's nightmare was that he lay broken and bleeding in the dust, as the villagers and ANBU called out taunts and threats. When his nightmare changed, it was because someone came forward, shoving the crowd out of the way and waving them off before setting a hand on his chest, healing him, then giving him a hand to stand. He couldn't see their face, but they walked with him away from the hatred and spite. The scenery changed and he found himself sitting in Ichiraku ramen, ordering each of them a bowl. Naruto looked at the one who had saved him, finally seeing her face. It was Anko with a wide smile. In the real world, Naruto smiled back. He dreamed of ramen the rest of the night. In Anko's dream, she was once again 12, and Orochimaru was her sensei. It flashed through some of the more personal moments between them where he congratulated her or he told her he was proud. Then it went to the day she would never forget, the day he put the curse mark on her. 9 others were with her when the pain started. She was all alone when she finally came to. Flickering and merging her memories, it skipped to the day Orochimaru asked her if she would join him, or if she would stay behind. He stood surrounded by darkness, and so in her dream she took a step back and heard the last words her beloved sensei had for her. Oh well. Turning, he walked into the darkness. The curse seal on her neck suddenly burned and she heard his voice echoing again and again. Oh well. She put her hands over her ears, but that only served to make her hear it in her mind. Oh well. The pain of the mark was intense, and she felt so alone, abandoned. Hey, what's the sexiest kunoichi in Konoha doing kneeling? Anko looked up, not knowing the voice. Standing before her was a young boy holding dango in each hand. Who's there? She cried out in her mind, unable to use her voice. A friend. Naruto leaned forward, handing her a stick of dango, a wide smile plastered on his face. In the real world, Anko smiled back. She dreamed of torturing Orochimaru the rest of the night. They both couldn't have been happier. End of flashback. Maybe the landlord forgot it was late. That would be great, then I can get the money together later. As if sensing her thoughts, she heard pounding on her door, and she took it to mean that the landlord had not forgotten and he was probably unhappy. Given how he was smashing on the door, unhappy was probably a good phrase, but pissed as all hell might have been better. Lady, open the damn door. You owe me rent, and it's almost 2 weeks late. I know you're in there, so you damned well better have the money. Shit, 2 weeks late? Thought it was just a few days. Naruto stirred against her as the shouting continued. Open the door or I open it, and if I open it, I am throwing your ass out of here. Ever hear of the term, forcefully evicted? Anko sat up sighing, knowing she had to come up with some way to give the man some money, or more than likely she was out of a home. What's your rent? Anko looked down to see a sleepy-eyed Naruto attempting to wake up. Anko, of course, was quick with a reply. Like I would tell you, Gaki. You have less than a minute to get me my 3,000 ryo, and another 1,000 for it being late. Sighing, Anko looked to Naruto. There's your answer, kid. 4,000, why did you want to know? Naruto did some calculations in his head before he responded to her question. Had to know if I had enough. The hell do you mean by that? Anko was more than a little skeptical that this kid had enough money laying around to pay her rent. Get Gamachan from my shorts. He has enough in him, I think. With a small growl, she got up and pulled his shorts off the rod before a small green bundle fell out of one of the pockets. Is that a frog? Last warning, damn it. Remembering the situation, Anko quickly reached down and grabbed the frog, praying that the kid was right. Heading to the door, she just managed to get it open before another chorus of pounding could start up. Seeing her furious landlord on the other side, Anko spoke quickly. Sorry, T and I had me working late last night to earn a paycheck. Next time maybe I'll just bring work home. Cammy knows this place could use a little color. Opening up the frog, she spied that the wallet had her rent and then some. Counting out the 4,000 ryo, she handed it over before attempting to close the door. Next time pay on time or I'll throw your ass out. Without bothering to reply, she closed the door and let out a sigh. Another month down, I guess. Should probably scrap together a mission or two to pay it myself next time. I can't believe he had the money to pay for rent. What the hell does he have that much on him for? Worries for later. I'm going back to sleep. Walking back to bed, Naruto barely managed to hop up out of Anko's way before she flopped face down, hoping that she could continue her dream. Her wonderful, wonderful dream. Seems like Anko won't be getting up anytime soon. Guess that gives me plenty of time to try and clean up a bit in here. Looking at the mess, Naruto figured it would be try rather than succeed in the attempt. Deciding he would leave her clothes alone, he would start by getting rid of the plates of dango that were in various stages of decay. Looking around the kitchen for some bags, he saw an entire box of them just sitting on the counter. Grabbing out a couple bags, Naruto started chucking out all the trash. Mostly decayed dango, but there were some random other items laying around as well. Boxes for tea bags, stacks of crinkled paper that were shoved into just about every corner, and containers for store-bought dango. It took Naruto the better part of an hour and 3 bags to clean up all the trash laying around, but by the end of it all, Naruto had gotten almost all the trash out. Almost meaning the dango that still looked semi-edible was now sitting on her kitchen table. It didn't look like the most appetizing stuff, but Naruto figured if Anko was anything like him about ramen, even something that seems almost on the brink of being alive, you could scrape it off and nuke it, and you get a quick breakfast. Naruto had no idea when Anko was going to hop out of her bed and wake up, but it was almost 10, and he doubted she could spend all day in bed. She probably had to do some kind of cool mission that got her out of the village and away from everyone. Maybe that's why she didn't seem to hate him. Maybe she didn't know that as a citizen of Konoha you're supposed to. I'm not going to let that happen though. I'll clean this entire apartment if I have to. I'm going to be so good she likes me. I hope it stays that way. At least Naruto looked at the bed where Anko was snoring lightly and sighed. No, the villagers will turn her against me too. I'll just do the dishes and go home. 30 minutes of vigorous scrubbing later, Anko had a semi-clean kitchen. Time to go now, I guess. Walking to the door, Naruto reached for it when Anko's voice called out to him. And just where do you think you're going? Turning around, Naruto was face to face with a fully clothed Anko whom had a stick with the 2 pieces of dango on it and a fierce look in her eye. Naruto didn't really know what to say, so he went with the honest truth. I thought I would go home since I cleaned up a bit, and you seem fine now. You told me you wanted to live and I said I would teach you what that meant. It did not mean, clean my house then get out of it. Anko looked over Naruto again, eyeing him how a cat might look at a mouse it was toying with. I saved your life, so that means your ass is mine now, Gaki. You tried to get rid of it last night, and I recovered it. Wait. What? What do you mean it's yours now? Eyeing her with some suspicion, she only grinned, biting down through another bit of dango. I saved your life. So now, the life you thought you had, the life you threw away. Yeah, it's gone until I say otherwise. Naruto, you're going to do what I say, when I say it, understood? If I say jump, you ask how high? If I tell you to clean the house, you clean from the ceiling down. Got it? Naruto wasn't sure why, but it didn't sound so bad. Sure, she sounded like she would work him hard and was demanding a lot, but it was an honest arrangement. She told him what she wanted, and he was needed. Someone needs me. Naruto had to ask her a question though. You do know who I am, right? Everyone hates me, and more than likely. They'll hate me too. That what you were going to say? Way ahead of you. They've hated me for years already, and I've earned the nickname Snake Bitch. Think I can handle being associated with you? Anko smiled her twisted half-smile that made men's blood freeze, and Naruto felt the full effect of it, and wondered a second time, what have I gotten myself into? Yeah, I think you can handle it. Anko's smile went from icing blood, to just looking a little demonic. Good, now that that's settled, we've got a few things to discuss. First and foremost, how are you walking around with 7,000 ryo burning in your pocket? Tossing his wallet back to him, Naruto immediately noticed it was lacking the extra ryo it should have had. Anko cheekily waved the spare amount in the air, looking between him and it. To be honest, the Hokage gives me a monthly amount of money since I don't have parents. I end up with around 6,000 a month. I only spend 4,000 on rent, and I can usually keep food costs under 1,000. So I'm left with more or less 1,000 extra every month, so I've been saving it all this time. Naruto looked almost proud of himself for keeping so much money, and Anko looked a bit sad. How does a kid have better fiscal planning than I do? Pocketing the cash, Anko thought for a moment before moving on to her next item. Okay, moving on to the second order of business. What are we going to do about your living arrangements? Can have you living out somewhere where I can't find you? Naruto looked a bit nervous, but he knew where she was going with the question. Isn't that kind of up to you? What's mine is yours as you own my ass, right? Anko nodded her head. Yeah, that's right. And I really don't want to have 2 apartments, but your crap can stay at your place. I'm already pretty situated here. I'll stop by whenever I feel like it to see how you're doing, so try and keep the place decent. Kinda like the way you had it here? Anko smacked Naruto's head lightly before she continued, ignoring what he had just said. So where is your place, Gaki? Naruto gave her a brief description of the location and the building, making sure Anko knew how to find it. Nodding a little, she finished off the last of the dango on the stick before heading into the kitchen and grabbing another. Hesitating at the door, Naruto couldn't help but feel strange and wonder what had made Anko help him. He was used to hatred and abuse. Kindness in any form was typically a trap. Alight, Anko, mind if I ask something? Naruto stared at the floor, trying to figure out what he wanted to say, as Anko gave a small wave of her hand, giving him the go-ahead to speak. Well, why do you care about me? Only a tiny few do, but I doubt they really care. You seem different though. So what do I matter to you? Naruto couldn't even bring his head up to look at her, as he dejectedly spoke from his heart, letting her know just what he thought he was worth. Nothing. I care because I know what it's like to be alone. Maybe those people do care about you, maybe they don't. I don't know, Naruto, but you do matter. Everyone matters. No matter how big or, in your case, small they are. Everyone is important. She tried to make as much sense as possible to the downtrodden boy, but he had caught her off guard with that question. I am the infamous snake bitch, right? I'm not supposed to care. What do you know about being alone, Anko? It was another question she wasn't really prepared for, so she decided she would take back the conversation and lead it somewhere else. That's not important right now. We still have another few things to take care of before I can let you just stroll back home. Why do you look like your clothes come from the remnants of a Ninhan tug of war? Surely 1,000 ryo can get you some new clothes if you really need them, right? No, these are new, or at least new to me. Naruto shook his head and further explained how the villagers had beaten him the day before, and what the ANBU had said. So that explains the jump. How many times has he been through this already? For Kami's sake, the kid is barely 5. Naruto noticed the look of concentration on Anko's face and stopped his story. So that's why I look so ragged. Usually the beating doesn't get that bad before someone steps in. That ANBU deserves to be stripped of his status. Alright, Naruto, from now on if anyone threatens you, I want you to calmly walk away from them. Don't run or they might chase after you. And if someone beats you again, tell me what they look like or possibly their name if you can catch it. I'll take care of them. At least until you're trained enough to deal with them on your own. Naruto couldn't help but let out a little shocked gasp. You're going to train me? Naruto could barely hold down his excitement at the prospect of learning some of those cool ninja moves, and being able to beat up all the villagers that were mean to him. He would finally have a way to fight back, and then maybe they would leave him alone. Yes, Naruto, I'll teach you to defend yourself. If you start any trouble though, you better pray it was worth it. I will not hesitate to discipline you. Naruto's excitement was replaced with cautious optimism on the last few words, hoping he never had to learn what Anko considered a punishment. So there's going to be a few rules when I begin training you to keep you alive. The first and foremost being complete trust in what I tell you. If I tell you not to do anything for any reason, you will need to listen. I am going to push you much harder than even the toughest of the clans because when you start the academy, I don't want you to be behind. Got that? Yeah, I think I can listen to you, Anko, but I might have questions if you tell me to do stuff. Naruto expected her to give him another light smack on the head for that comment, flinching when she moved to look at him, but instead she smiled. Good, you know to question things. Blind obedience is a dangerous thing. Seriously though, for the most part if I give you an order, obey it first. Then ask why. Better to keep you uninformed and alive instead of curious and dead. Another rule you need to follow, don't start a fight. You will always attempt to keep a cool and level head, understand? Fighting just to fight is ignorant, and I won't stand for you abusing my teachings because you feel like you have something to prove. Naruto couldn't help from opening his mouth to ask why he couldn't fight when her look silenced him. Nodding to show he understood, Anko continued on to the final rule. The last one will be, do not tell anyone I am teaching you. I'd rather they work to find out or get a surprise when you're dropped into the academy. Rob me of my bit of fun, Naruto, and there will be hell. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Anko. I understand perfectly. I am so screwed. Alright, good. Kid, you have no idea what I have in store for you. Now how about you treat me to some dango to celebrate your newfound training? I have the perfect spot to spend this. Waving Naruto's funds, he couldn't help but feel he was being cheated here. After all, that was money that could be going to ramen. We could go to Ichiraka Ramen. They have the best. Anko threw one of the empty dango skewers so quickly at Naruto he blinked and missed its flight path but wasn't deaf. The dull thud of the piece of wood burying itself in the door made him rethink his choice in words. So dango sounds good. Smiling, Anko added to Naruto's short phrase, and sake. Dango needs sake with it. Just dango, please? Isn't sake a bit expensive? I know, but I want some. You can't just get sake just because you want it. And you even have dango here, why not eat some of that? Trying to find a solution that got him back his ramen funds, Naruto tried to remain firm on his stance. If he couldn't spend his money on ramen, he'd settle for just getting it back from her. Anko pouted a bit, trying to elicit some kind of response from Naruto where she gets both sake and dango. Please, Naruto? I'm taking the time out of such a busy schedule to help you out after all. Please, can I have it for breakfast? It's lunchtime, Anko. It's a little past 11 now. Perfect, an even better time of day to get sake and dango. Now come on, let's go. Grabbing Naruto, Anko pulled him out the door and towards one of her favorite places in Konoha. Guess I don't have much say otherwise, at least she seems excited for the stuff. I can't wait for the glazed taste of that sweet dango, and the kick from the bitter sake. Anko could hardly contain herself, or her warm smile at the thoughts of dango. As the demon and the snake raced through the town, people glared, they cursed at the pair, but something kept them at bay. Those two looked happy together. It was an odd sight seeing the woman smile. It made men want to get out of her way, and woman could barely say a word as she bolted past them with nothing but the thoughts of dango and sake peppering her mind. An Anbu sat on a tree branch watching the odd pair run like mad. In the light of the sun his mask gleamed, marking him as dog. I'm glad they found someone like themselves, they both needed it. Just hope Naruto can keep up with her. Shrugging his shoulder, the Anbu pulled out a small orange book and began to read. Ah, if only life were like an Ika book. The Anbu gave an unseen smile and vanished, a few leaves falling away from where he had been. To say Naruto's training was intense is an understatement, to say they were torture is a joke, and he wasn't sure most of the time if she was actually trying to kill him. With that said, Naruto couldn't argue against the fact that what she did worked. Yes, he spent some of his free days laying in bed with the worry that his arms were quite possibly going to fall out of their sockets. Yes, he had been to the hospital on more than one occasion, with Anko laughing about how she didn't think he would actually eat those berries. Yes, he was more than a little certain that what she was doing could and should be considered child abuse. But the results didn't lie. What she was doing was working. Naruto could outrun any of the villagers before they could lay a hand on him. He knew what plants a person could survive on in the wild. He could even go toe-to-metaphorical-toe with a few of Anko's larger snake summons in a brawl. He knew he was getting stronger, faster, smarter. The years he spent with Anko made him realize a few things about her. She was strong, and he liked that. She didn't take shit from anyone and everyone else knew it too. She was smart enough to be able to survive on her own or with Naruto in a wilderness for months if she wanted. She had wanted on a few occasions to go out and camp in her favorite little garden, also known as the Forest of Death. It had been 3 years since the day Anko had saved Naruto's life. She had dragged him through hell and back, and she had on several occasions put him on the brink of death. But they had grown closer to each other as the time passed. He was still Gaki to her, and she was still Anko to him, but somehow Naruto found himself caring deeply for Anko. When she was in pain, he worried. Whenever she was on a long mission, he would miss her. He always rationalized it though. I just miss her training in the company. Just like she's always telling me, learn to be detached. That's what she's trying to teach me. Sadly though, it seemed she was the one exception for him. He had learned to hide it, but she had saved his life in more ways than one. Without her intense training, he probably wouldn't have even been able to get into the ninja academy. He would have been stuck as the village's whipping boy for the rest of his life, and more than likely he would have attempted to take his own life again. That won't ever happen though. I have Anko now. He shuddered to think about a life without her. It might have been a less physically painful one, but whenever Naruto needed someone, Anko was always there for him. Looking up at the academy, he remembered her last conversation with him. Flashback. Now Gaki, you're going to be tempted to show off how much better you are than the other ninja clan's kids. Well, sorry to disappoint you, you're going to fail twice. What? But Anko, I could get out early and we could both be ninja, and then I could go out on missions with you, right? And if I can't? Anko's glare cut Naruto's words short. Remember, you listen to me. You're going to do what I tell you, because if you reveal just how strong you are, guess what? I have to start teaching other Gakis like you, and I don't want to have to put up with 4 whining kids telling me things are too damn hard. You're going to fail on purpose, because if you do, then you'll have a chance at making the most powerful team when you come out of the academy. Naruto's confusion was pretty evident, so he hardly had to open his mouth before Anko stopped him and continued her explanation. They pair the Rookie of the Year, the most able kunoichi, and the dead last of the academy to make what is supposed to be a decent team. The Rookie is arrogant, and pushes the other 2 to work harder. The kunoichi in most cases is more academic, and can teach the other 2 what they lack, and the dead last is supposed to keep the other 2 focused on helping the team. Okay, that seems actually fairly balanced. What's wrong with it then? You said supposed to be not as a decent team. Anko approved of the fact Naruto picked that up. Yeah, the flaw is usually it doesn't end up that way. The kunoichi is so fixated on the Rookie, she ignores dead last. The Rookie hates being forced to work with 2 inferior students and tends to try and handle everything alone, and well, dead last is usually a bit of a moron and risks the team more often than not. So you want me to earn that title? Why the hell would I want people to think I'm a moron? Naruto was indignant at being asked to be singled out for more abuse, and Anko knew how he felt about being treated like crap. Maybe she's starting to think I'm not worth her time anymore. Get that sad look off your face. There's a reason I want you to do this, okay? I know you could probably graduate early if you want to, but if you did that, everyone would just get even more angry and scared. This way, people will get used to you being a ninja, and probably won't take to the streets and riot about you. Anko's solid reasoning and smile wore away at the anger Naruto felt. How about I take you out celebrating for every fail? Ichiraku sound like a fair trade? Her smile and the offer for ramen quickly cooled Naruto's temper. Alright. That sounds fair, but only if we can get some dango too. It was Naruto's turn to grin as Anko's smile got even wider. Damn right. Dango and sake. Naruto was happy to see Anko enjoy herself so much. After all, she brought so much happiness to him. End flashback. Sighing, Naruto walked into the academy and started some of the most boring and irritating 4 years of his life. And instead of putting in a lot of topical information and explanatory detail, I'm going to skip the boring classes and take this story straight to the celebrations of Naruto's planned failures. These parts aren't very long as I am trying to push forward with the story, but I did try and add some more relationship building between the 2. Nothing really fancy, but still, hope you enjoy. Celebration of Naruto's first fail. Naruto had a hand on the door to Anko's house, wondering why she had only left him a note saying, "Hey Naruto, my house." Now, last time she did that I ended up in the hospital for lying about leaving Konoha for a few hours. I really hope I didn't screw up and pass or something. Naruto was terrified of the possibilities, wondering if she was planning a similar hospital stay. Sighing, Naruto opened the door. Surprise! A sudden trench coat-covered bullet reached out a hand and grabbed him, yanking him into the apartment. There was a large banner that was quite easy to see that said in large red letters, "Congrats. 1 down, 1 to go." You did all of this for me? Naruto was more than a little shocked. Nobody had ever celebrated with him about anything. He knew that Anko had said they would get ramen and dango, but he had never expected this. Yeah, sure. No big deal, Gaki. It's to celebrate your sleeping through classes, pretending to take a beating, and otherwise degrading yourself. I'd say you more than earned this. With that, Naruto couldn't take it anymore and hugged Anko's waist tightly, trying to keep from crying. Anko was shocked at the sudden hug and could practically feel the kid holding back tears. Maybe I went a little overboard. Too much. Naruto looked up at her, and she saw him with the happiest grin he had ever shown her. This is amazing, Anko. Thank you so much. Okay, so he's happy, not crying, cool. Naruto again hugged her waist tightly and let go. Alright, well, since you did all of this for me, I guess I should do something nice for you too. Naruto walked into the kitchen, and Anko could hear him shuffling around for something, occasionally muttering to himself. Where is it? No, here it is. Anko was pleasantly surprised to find that Naruto was holding a large bottle of her favorite sake. You promised me ramen and dango. I figured I could get something you liked. Like? I love my sake, Gaki. Now hand it over and you might get some ramen for your troubles. Naruto smiled as he handed her the bottle. Might? I thought this was a party for me. Shouldn't I get what I want? Anko laughed at his statement. It's my party, I'm throwing it, so I'll do what I want. Taking a swig out of the bottle, she could only laugh harder as her third favorite flavor hit her taste buds. Man, this stuff is great. Naruto looked at Anko a bit worriedly and decided he would try and get her to show a bit moderation. Anko, I don't think you're supposed to down it that quickly, I only got a few baht. You've got more of this laying around my apartment? How did I never find it? Why are you holding out on me, Gaki? Anko took another swig before replying to his worries. And I can handle my sake, so don't stress about me. Or is it you want to taste, Gaki? Wait, what? I thought I wasn't old enough to drink. Naruto wasn't entirely positive, but he was pretty sure. I think you're old enough, so screw it. Grab a cup and I'll teach you the joys of sake. She had a gleam in her eye Naruto wasn't too sure he liked. She is the boss though, and if she says I guess I can try it. Grabbing a cup, Anko poured him a glass and watched Naruto down the entire thing in one smooth gulp. Kid's got balls, I'll give him that. Hey, want some more? The sake had burned a little going down, but something about it was nice. Yeah, if you think I can handle it. Anko was debating whether or not she should give him more. Actually, she was betting on how many more drinks it would take to get the kid wasted. For her, it was pretty much the same thing. I think you can handle a lot more. Let's see just how much. She grabbed a glass of her own and started a wonderful game of I drink, you drink. The rules were so simple it was implied in the very name of the game. For every shot she took, Naruto got a refill on his and vice versa. 3 shots into I drink, you drink. Naruto was feeling kinda weird, but Anko seemed to be enjoying herself. I don't think I've seen Anko so happy. Naruto felt proud of himself, as it wasn't often he got to see that look. If this makes her happy, I think I can do this more often. He took another drink out of his cup. 7. Naruto was feeling the effects of the sake now. It wasn't as dramatic as Anko was hoping, trying to see if Naruto would jump up on the table or pass out or anything, but he just had a smile on his face and a twin bright red flushes on his cheeks. Little Gaki can hold it together pretty well. Bottoms up. She took another swig and poured herself and Naruto another. 9. Naruto's vision was getting a little blurry and that confused him a bit, but otherwise Naruto was feeling as great as a drunk 10-year-old can feel. Which is surprisingly pretty damn good. One mores, and kick KO. She laughed at his slur, but she wasn't one to cruelly deny one the wonders that is sake. Here you are, my Gaki friend. One more, as you requested. Damn, I'm starting to get a bit drunk too. Oh well, Naruto is enjoying himself, and that's what matters. That, and I know where the other bottles are now. Following Naruto's example, she poured another. Anko lost count 16? Naruto was out cold, laying his head on the table, and Anko was about ready to do the same. She had finally killed the last bit of the second bottle after Naruto had quit on her. Looking her over, she smiled as she thought about how she had done about the same when she was his age. Maybe a few less. She was pretty impressed with his performance. Congrats, kid, you're not a lightweight. Although, we got to work on the whole slurring your words thing. Chuckling at her thoughts, she stood to head to bed. She stripped down to just her fishnet, bra, and panties and hopped into the bed. Getting comfortable, she pulled up the blanket, and she realized she was freezing. Damn, why is it so cold in here? Pulling the blanket tighter around herself, she tried to get warm. Forget this, I'm grabbing a heat source. Tossing the blanket off herself, she stumbled her way back to the kitchen, finding it a little harder to walk as the liquor finally caught up with her. Grabbing Naruto, she picked him up in a hug and was rewarded with him hugging her back and warming her up a bit. It was a short stumble back to the bed where she fell in with Naruto beside her. Throwing the blanket over the both of them, she situated herself comfortably on the bed with him. Better, but he's not as warm as I remember well, last time he was in boxers. It was short work for the drunk Anko to strip Naruto, but when he felt the frigid air touch his back, he wrapped his arms tighter around her. Much warmer. Perfect. Kid better not get any ideas in the morning. Wrapping an arm around him, she pulled up the blanket as well and fell into a drunken stupor much like Naruto. Both would wake up with a serious hangover. One would question what the hell happened. Neither realized there was leftover dango and ramen sitting in the fridge entirely untouched. Celebration of the second fail. Same note, same apartment, 1 year later. Going to get me drunk again and strip me in bed? Naruto gave a playful grin as he phrased the question, taking the cup of sake from Anko. Nah, I like to mix it up. I get plastered and you strip me this time, got it? Anko laughed at the look of shock on Naruto's face. That's a joke, Gaki. I'll drink you under the table, and I was cold last time. I used you to stay warm. I've already told you all this. Sure, that's what you've said. And this time, I'll drink you under the table. His confident grin and bold statement made her laugh, but Naruto looked even more determined because of it. Alright, since you want to make this an actual challenge, there should be some stakes. Anko's famously twisted smile made an appearance. If I win, you buy me all the dango I can eat tomorrow. Naruto paled as he remembered the last time Anko had been hungover and eating dango. He still wasn't sure how she managed to eat 30+ plates of the sticky stuff. Alright, and if I win? Anko's smirk and snort of laughter pissed him off, but he stayed quiet. You win, I'll do any one thing you want. How's that sound? Well, anything in my power to give. Alright. I get to choose when I use that though, agreed? Anko nodded her head smiling, thinking of all the sweet dango she would get to eat tomorrow. So how do we decide this? Easy, we each get 2 bottles. We each pour our drinks. You drink as much as you can without passing out, and I'll drink as much as I can. Once we do that, we pour the last of the sake into 2 pitchers. Whichever has more is the loser. Got it? It seemed simple enough, so Naruto agreed to her terms. Gaki, your wallet is going to feel it in the morning. Alright, Anko-sensei, time for your student to beat you at your own contest. Anko laughed at his cheeky little statement, but let him slide. He'll pay for it later. Don't get ahead of yourself, Gaki. You still have to beat me at a drinking contest, and you're 11. I'm 23. I think I have a clear advantage on you. Smiling, Naruto silently took his place and Anko took her seat. Let the game begin, kid. No sooner had she said the words than she picked up her first bottle and started drinking straight from it. Naruto casually poured himself a cup and drank it. So Anko, how are things going? The hell? We're playing a drinking game, why do you want to chat? Fine, I guess. Again, she took a full swig out of her bottle while Naruto poured himself an ample cup. Glad to hear it. Things at the academy are pretty boring. I was half tempted to try and pass, but I didn't want to have to deal with you hunting me down. Damn right I would too. Teachers aren't giving you too hard a time? Another swig, another cup. Nah, they keep trying to get me into trouble, so I play an occasional prank. That usually gets them to leave me alone for a while. Naruto smiled, remembering fondly the last prank he had played on Mizuki-sensei. Good, don't start anything you aren't willing to finish or have them discipline you for. Anko felt the liquor bring a slight flush to her cheeks. I know, you taught me everything I know, remember? Cheers to another failed year. Naruto raised his cup and Anko raised her bottle. This is strange, how am I already feeling buzzed? I remember the last time we drank, I put away more than a bottle by myself. This one is barely half empty. Naruto's smile widened as he saw Anko's look of confusion. So, notice this stuff is hitting harder on your system, huh? Hopefully your stubbornness keeps you downing this higher concentrated sake. Naruto couldn't help but be proud of his foresight in buying the slightly more expensive and harder liquor. Why is the Gaki smiling so damn hard? What is thinking? Anko downed some more sake and felt it hit her like a brick. Shit, this stuff must be stronger. The little bastard knew it, and I can't just stop drinking or I lose. Son of a bitch, he knew he couldn't beat me all out, so he was waiting for this to happen. Got to hand it to him, that was a pretty good plan. Wait, is Anko slowing down? Crap. She must have realized what I did. Well, I'm dead. Naruto smiled proudly as Anko glared at him. So Anko, ready to give up? Hell no, I'm winning this, even if you did buy stronger stuff this time around. Anko's determined glare met Naruto's steady smile. Alright, let's see how long you last. The answer was until the end of the bottle. She killed the entire thing by herself, but the second bottle was unopened. At the end of the night, an extremely drunk and proud Naruto was still awake. He was on the last cup of his first bottle. Wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Alright, just 2 more. This and 1 from the other bottle to win. Not willing to let himself lose, Naruto finished the first bottle almost an hour and a half after Anko had finished hers. But he did manage to crack open the next bottle and very clumsily pour himself some sake. I won! Yeah! I did it, and with that thought, Naruto raised his hands into the air and set his head down on the table to pass out. Waking up the next morning, Anko was very sore, very stiff, and very hungover. What the hell? Sitting up, Anko saw she was still at the kitchen table. Oh, you can't be serious. Kami sitting on the table in front of her was her unopened bottle of sake, 2 empty bottles and Naruto's open one, sitting next to his empty cup. He won? Damn it, I wanted dango. Anko's pouted a little bit, but seeing as how Naruto was still in a drunken stupor, she assumed that he wouldn't mind her borrowing a bit of cash from him. Considering the handwritten note inside that said explicitly to Anko not to take any of his money, you'd think she would have formed another opinion. Without hesitation, she grabbed his wallet and went to go treat herself. She wasn't one to back out of her word, of course, but he had left his wallet perfectly defenseless hidden underneath his jacket in a pocket he had thought only he had known about. Obviously, he needed to hide it better if he didn't want her using it. With that logic, she had no doubt in her mind that she was in the right now if only somebody could turn down the damned sun. Graduation day. The day Naruto had been waiting for since the start of the academy was finally here, the day he got to graduate and join a genin squad. Naruto had even gotten up early to get to class before everyone else. Sadly, he knew that as a reward for getting there early, he would have to deal with the class showing up. Least I can put my head down and try to sleep or something. Sadly, his plans fell apart as the first classmates walked through his door. Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburama, and Hinata Hyuga. Shino and Hinata were fine, but it wasn't them that made him groan inside. Hey guys, check it out. Dead Last is here first. Can't wait to fail. Can you, Naruto, so you tried to get here early enough to take it alone? That your brilliant plan, Dead Last. Kiba laughed like he had come up with the best joke in the world while Hinata played with her fingers and Shino couldn't seem to care less. They took their seats in the middle of the class, and Naruto could feel Hinata's eyes on him as Kiba kept making jokes. Naruto could hardly blame the guy. After all, he was supposed to look pathetic, but being just a step up from Dead Last, Kiba didn't have much room to talk. Having taken some time, Naruto had learned who the Rookie of the Year was and who was the highest-ranking kunoichi in his class was. Speak of the silent devil, Sasuke Uchiha now walked into the class. He saw Naruto sitting up by the window in the middle seat and sat beside him against the window. They had a silent agreement with each other. Sasuke left Naruto alone when he was sleeping, and Naruto body blocked. Out of my way, Ino pig. I'm going to sit next to Sasuke. Like hell you will, billboard brow. Sasuke and Naruto both sighed inwardly. Struggling to push their way into the class was Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno. When is he just going to tell them he's gay or something to get some peace? Naruto had pondered this dilemma for a while, but as always he came to the same conclusion. Even if he pretended to be gay, they would probably just try harder to turn him around. Apparently Sakura was the winner of the shoving match and Naruto couldn't help but groan inside. Sure, she was pretty, but her volume controls were a little broken on 11. Naruto baka. Move over so I can sit next to Sasuke-kun. Naruto's eardrums were probably going to suffer permanent damage for what he was about to say, but to hell with it. She was going to bitch anyways, might as well laugh. Sakura-chan, why don't you just sit in my lap so you can be next to your beloved Sasuke, and I have a beautiful girl in my lap? Naruto couldn't be sure, but in the moments before a fist hit him square in the temple, he could have sworn Sasuke chuckled lightly. Sakura hadn't hit him nearly hard enough to knock him out, but pretending to black out was one of the easiest ways to get her to shut up. Sakura tried to shift Naruto, but for some reason he seemed incredibly heavy and just wasn't moving. She debated just hitting him again to rouse him from sleep and sit next to her Sasuke-kun, but she didn't want the little freak hitting on her again. Sighing, she just took a seat at the end of the row. Acceptable losses to keep that baka asleep. Thank you, Naruto. Sasuke wasn't one for friends since the fall of the mighty Uchiha clan to his brother, and the girl seemed so fixated on trying to catch his attention. He was almost ready to date one of them just to shut the others up when Naruto had started forcing him to sit in the corner seats or against the walls and he took the middle seat. At first it had been annoying, but Sasuke had noticed the immediate drop in girls' attention in him as they had to get through him to get to their Sasuke-kun. Sasuke still had no idea why Naruto did it, but he owed the little idiot one. Naruto had his eyes closed as the rest of his class slowly shuffled in, but there were two voices he knew rather well. One complaining how troublesome the whole graduating thing was, Shikamaru Nara, and a voice that crunched with each word as if he had a near-constant stream of chips coming into his mouth, Choji Akimichi. He had met the duo out behind the school building watching the clouds and didn't seem so bad as long as Naruto didn't use the F-word or make things too troublesome. Naruto had had enough of pretending to be asleep as Iruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei walked into the class calling the attention of everyone. As you all know, today is the graduating ceremony for a good number of you. I can't wait to see all your smiling faces out in the world of ninja, working beside me one day. It's true that you children are the future of Konoha. Iruka couldn't stop smiling as he looked to the fresh young faces he had grown to care so much for. His smile faltered a little when he looked over Naruto. All the times I tried to show him kindness, he turned me down. He must be struggling under the weight of this village, and he hasn't once taken me up on any kindness I've offered him. Naruto, when did you stop being the smiling boy I remembered? Continuing on with his speech, Iruka had near identical thoughts when his eyes settled on Sasuke, but with a minimal amount of concentration Iruka managed to wrap up his speech. Alright, we're going to start with. Skipping ahead to Naruto. Alright Naruto, you did well enough on the other portions, it's time for you to complete the last test to become a genin. All you need to do is create a working bunshin. Please Naruto, I know you can do this. I believe in you. Iruka tried to keep the expectancy out of his eyes, but he couldn't keep them out of his mind. Alright. Piece of cake. Throwing the correct hand seals together, Naruto tried to keep his chakra under control, but he could feel it spike as he said the name. Bunshin no Jutsu. Clone Jutsu. A pathetic and sick clone appeared next to Naruto. It had too much chakra pumped into it at the moment of creation, and had come out wrong. No! I know I can do this. What the hell is going on? Damn it, damn it, damn it! Naruto silently raged to himself knowing he could perform the technique, but something was messing with his chakra control. Looking at the two teachers in front of him, Naruto managed to figure out what was going on when he caught Iruka's sad smile and mistook it as a smirk. He's causing me to fail. He's doing this on purpose. That son of a bitch. Naruto, I can understand you're upset, but we can't allow you to pass with that bunshin. I'm sorry Naruto, you've failed again. Naruto's frustration had been clearly on his face and Iruka had mistook it as Naruto beating himself up over not passing. You can always try again next year Naruto. Naruto silently walked from the room, not acknowledging either man. They probably planned this together. How could I be so stupid as to believe Iruka might care, and I thought Mizuki has always hated me. How did I not see this coming? Taking a seat next to Sasuke, Naruto stared forward as Iruka gave another speech, then announced those who had passed, handing out headbands. Naruto opted to just stand up and leave while Iruka was busy. He didn't need the man trying to pity him again. If he actually did care, he wouldn't have screwed with his chakra control. Taking a seat outside on a lone swing, he watched the other kids slowly shuffle out to their families, either pride or sadness evident on their young features. How am I going to explain this to Anko? I can't let her down, I just can't. There has to be some way to get promoted. I'll ask the Hokage if I have to, even beg. Shifting in the swing, Naruto was about to make a mad dash with his true speed to the Hokage and beg on his hands and knees when Mizuki appeared next to Naruto. I tried getting Iruka to pass you, but he was adamant that you needed to perform the bunshin before he'd allow you to pass. So came here to gloat. Typical. However, I did get him to agree to let you take the other test that requires no bunshin to graduate. It's much more difficult, but I'm sure you can handle it. The hell are you talking about? There is no other test, is there? Naruto couldn't help but believe maybe, just maybe, somebody was actually trying to help him. There's another test? He was so excited by the fact of being able to tell Anko that he had passed a much harder test, that he completely missed Mizuki's eyes light up with an evil glint. That's right, demon brat. Put your faith in you, beloved sensei, and let it be your downfall. Yes, there's another test. All you have to do is attempt to get into the Hokage's office by whatever means you find necessary. Once inside, you will take the fake scroll of sealing, and take it to the forest. Attempt to learn any one move from it before anyone finds you and you've successfully passed the test. The ANBU and shinobi of the village will be informed you're taking the test and won't try to maim you, just apprehend you. If they catch you though, you fail. Got it? Naruto couldn't believe it. This test was sounding so simple, he wondered why he hadn't heard it before. Alright. I'll take the test. Go tell the people you're supposed to. When does it start? Mizuki, I guess I was wrong about you. Mizuki laughed at the idiot's excitement, but Naruto thought he was laughing at the question. Now if you want, everyone is already aware of the test. And on the last word, Mizuki disappeared in a twirl of leaves, leaving Naruto alone again. I don't have to disappoint Anko. I can pass and prove I'm not worthless. Then we can play a drinking game like she enjoys so much. Naruto couldn't help but smile at the thoughts of Anko looking down at him proudly. With those thoughts at the forefront of his mind, Naruto took off for the Hokage's office. One stolen scroll later. Damn, I can see why this test is so much harder. All these techniques require huge amounts of chakra. Naruto had managed to steal the scroll quite easily, and made it to the forest without a hitch. He really hadn't expected it to be so easy. Now he just had to pick one of the techniques, but which one do I think would be more useful? There's probably points on strategy as well for this test. Scanning through the scroll, he noticed two techniques that seemed to call to him. The first was the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and the second was a much more difficult version of the Shadow Clones. He decided to take the attempt the first, and if he had time, to study the second. Within a few hours Naruto would master both of the techniques. Anko. Damn it, Gaki. Where the hell are you? Anko was frantically searching everywhere for Naruto. She had been informed, just like the rest of the shinobi, by the Hokage Naruto had apparently stolen the scroll of sealing. I want Naruto found alive. We have to ask him why he would do something so reckless and stupid. And I can't bear to see the child broken any more so than that day 7 years ago he stopped calling me Gigi. It still broke the Hokage's heart when Naruto instead started using the term Sama for him. He always said it with such a dead tone in his voice he couldn't believe it was the same cheerful boy he had spent time with just a few days before. He still wasn't sure of why Naruto had changed, but the Hokage did learn that around Anko, the boy seemed alive again. Kami, please let her be the one that finds him. Yes, Hokage-sama. The voices of the shinobi echoed out, and they all took off by their own means. Anko had run straight to the forest, figuring Naruto would have taken refuge there. He had always said he felt safest away from the village. Damn it, can't get sentimental right now. Have to find him. Her form became a blur as she pumped chakra into her system, taking off for where she thought she had sensed a minuscule trace of his chakra. Naruto. Naruto was dead tired. Learning the two techniques had been exhausting even for the hyperactive Naruto. He couldn't imagine any other genin could have pulled it off. No wonder Mizuki had said the test was harder. Speaking of which, where was the sensei? Naruto looked around wondering if maybe he had hidden too well. Flaring up his chakra for a moment, he let it be noticeable then hid again. Didn't want to get caught by anyone and fail the test after coming so far after all. Anko. There it was again. For a moment his chakra had flared up for a moment, and then dispersed. That meant two things: either he was hiding his signature because he knew people were looking for him, or two, the sudden drop in his signature meant he was dead. Anko's burst of speed would have made Guy proud and exclaim about the flames of youth. Landing in the clearing, Anko looked around for Naruto. Naruto, get the hell out of wherever you're hiding before I set every tree in this forest on fire, damn it. She wasn't in the mood to play hide and seek, she needed answers, and now. Why is she so pissed? I thought she would be proud I got this test instead of the easier one. Wait, shit. She told me not to show off. Fuck, well that's out now, guess I had better explain before she goes through with that threat. Stepping out of his hiding spot, Naruto let his chakra signature return to normal sensing range. Hey Anko. He stopped when Anko grabbed him into a tight hug, her look of anger turning to one of worry. I told you never to hide your signature from me, Naruto. I thought somebody had killed you when your chakra dropped so suddenly. Pulling him away from her, he looked into her eyes and saw the pain there. Anko. I'm sorry, I thought you knew about the test and would have been pissed I wasn't keeping a low profile. Hell, I think I barely managed to pass it. Naruto's words started to falter on the last bit as Anko's look told him his first suspicions had been. There is no different test, is there? No, Gaki, why would there be another test? You were supposed to pass the one they gave at the academy. Why are you out here? I think I can answer that one. That little idiot believed me when I told him about a made-up test to steal the scroll of sealing. Mizuki was standing on a branch not too far from the two, a proud smirk evident of just how accomplished he felt. I was planning to leave Konoha, and I figured with that scroll I might be able to get into the good graces of one of the more powerful of the other shinobi villages. Actually, I'll kill the both of them and take the scroll to Orochimaru and join my master once again. Like hell you are. What makes you think you can take me in a fight, Mizuki? I'm much stronger than you are, always have been. So if you curl into a ball and start crying, I may, just may, let you live long enough to get to the hospital. From there it'll be a toss-up if you die from blood loss, trauma, or a kunai to the throat. Anko's icy glare would have scared most men, but Mizuki had an ace up his sleeve, or more precisely, a giant shuriken or two on his back. I was hoping I wouldn't have to tell the brat this, that I could just kill him and run. Oh, but why not? You know as well, don't you, Anko? The hell is he talking about? Naruto looked from Mizuki to Anko, wondering what he was talking about. Naruto, the reason everyone hates you, the reason people despise you, you are a Jinchuriki. Inside of you is the demon known as the Kyuubi, the same one that tore through Konoha and murdered so many people. Anko remained silent as Mizuki told Naruto the truth. Good, I couldn't tell him, or I would have been executed for it. Bigaki deserved to know. Naruto stared at Anko, begging in his mind to hear that it wasn't true. When she didn't say a word, Naruto knew it had to have been true. Anko wasn't one to lie to him. I'm a demon? Naruto's voice trembled at the idea, but Anko quickly stomped out that notion. No, Gaki. You're the container, not the demon. There is a huge difference that some people refuse to acknowledge. Idiots like some of the villagers and some nin like the one before you. Taking up an attack stance, Anko prepared to battle Mizuki. Flipping one of his giant shurikens out, Mizuki smiled and launched it towards Naruto. Anko had a split-second decision to make, and she chose one she thought would never be something she would do for anyone. Not after everything she had been through. I hope that Gaki realizes what I did for him. That makes twice. Standing before Naruto, the shuriken hit her dead on, embedding itself into her back. Hey, guess that's 2 lives you owe me now. Gaki falling forward, Anko landed in Naruto's arms. Anko, why? Tears fell as he felt Anko's blood around the wound. Using what strength he could at that angle, he managed to work out the shuriken. Laying her down against a tree, Naruto's tear-stained eyes couldn't make out the shallow breaths she was taking. Anko is dead? Ha! I didn't expect her to take the hit. I thought she would freeze then mourn your corpse. Kami, this is perfect. I can leave the demon here, and let the village assume he killed her and me. I can escape with the scroll and no one would even care. His laughter rang through the forest, but only a few key words echoed in his mind. He killed her, he killed her, he killed her. Mizuki was entirely unprepared for the wave of killing intent that suddenly radiated off the boy. Such hatred, such pure, unfiltered hatred, Mizuki had only felt once before. You said I contained the demon, is that right, Mizuki? So tell me, you called the Kyuubi a demon. Why? Is it because it hates, or is it because it can kill? Or maybe is it because you can strike it down, and it will keep getting back up endlessly? Whatever the reason, you just made a demon this night. Mizuki had never seen Naruto look so corrupted by hatred, and he had seen him beaten to within an inch of his life. Still, the kid isn't even a genin. I can take him. With an arrogant smirk and a laugh to match, Mizuki said the last words before they fought. Demon? Hardly, and I killed the bitch. You really think I can't kill you? Naruto roared at the sky and jumped for Mizuki. Naruto had stupidly jumped straight at Mizuki, attempting to viciously assault his former sensei. Mizuki easily dodged the strike, throwing a few kunai at the boy. Idiot left himself wide open. Landing on the branch, Naruto jumped away before the kunai made contact. Hitting the floor, Naruto rolled and looked up at the man that had killed one of the only people to ever care about him. Calm down, Naruto. You have to keep a cool head or you make stupid mistakes. Anko's words came to Naruto, and he tried to calm himself. I have to beat this guy. I can't let him get away. Maybe I can use what I learned. If I could convince him to come at me, I might be able to summon a ton of clones to overwhelm him. Mizuki threw another kunai at Naruto, trying to gauge the boy's speed. He had seen Naruto in practice along the other genin, and he had always been unimpressive. When he had dodged the first barrage of kunai, it had shocked Mizuki when Naruto put on a burst of speed that was unusual of him. He must have been holding back. How much has he been holding back over the years? Naruto easily dodged the kunai, but with much less speed than he had before. Naruto figured the easiest way to deceive the Chunin was to make him overconfident, then surprise him when he tried to finish the fight. After all, what could be expected of the dead last of the academy? Taking the kunai, Naruto ran for Mizuki, flashing the blade in the glow of the moon. Idiot. He thinks he can take me on? Fine, he'll just die quicker. Pulling out another kunai, Mizuki rushed Naruto, kneeing him in the gut. Lifting the boy off the ground, Mizuki spun and kicked him into a nearby tree. Naruto tried to quickly get up, but his opponent didn't let him recuperate enough to stand on his own. Grabbing Naruto's shirt, he flung the boy into a branch, breaking it and slowing Naruto enough that he managed to catch his footing and stop. Is this the best you have, Naruto? It's pathetic. You really think you're a demon when you're this pitifully weak? Mizuki laughed at Naruto, emphasizing just how sad he found the entire scenario. Pulling the overly large shuriken from his back, he spun it at such a speed the blades seemed to meld together. What the others ever feared of you, I'll never know. Because with this next hit, you're dead. Mizuki threw the blade with all of his force, and it spanned through the air so quickly, he knew Naruto could never dodge it. That is, until Naruto blurred and disappeared out of the way of the lethal blade. The hell? Mizuki had seen the kid not a moment before, but now a punch hit him square in the back, sending him forward. He turned quickly and found no one, when he was suddenly assaulted again, this time from his right, the punch hitting him in the jaw. Turning, Mizuki saw the boy had stopped and stood before him, the kunai he had moments before gone. So, that next hit was supposed to kill me, right, Mizuki-sensei? Naruto added the honorific, his voice dripping with sarcasm. If I'm dead, then I guess this won't hurt, will it? Throwing his hands together, Naruto called out one of the jutsu he had learned. Shadow Clone Jutsu. This slacker learned one of the techniques. I was sure he wouldn't be able to. As the smoke dispersed, Mizuki suddenly found himself surrounded by at least 1,000 Narutos. Ha, what does it matter if you make a few of these clones? I can easily destroy them with a single hit. You really think this changes the outcome? As if to demonstrate this fact, Mizuki tossed some shuriken at the nearest clones, dispersing them. Your attack is flawed, Naruto. Oh, yeah, it would be, but I learned of another jutsu that makes them a bit more durable. Steel Shadows Jutsu. Naruto threw together a few hand signs and fell to one knee, panting. It seemed like he had used a massive amount of chakra for something, but the clones looked the exact same. Looks like whatever you tried only drained your chakra, demon brat. Your clones look entirely unaffected. Throwing another set of shuriken into the crowd. His triumphant smile was replaced with a confused look when the clones, instead of dispersing, took the hit and then removed the shurikens. Not a single clone had dispersed, and something that looked like blood was coating the blades that had been in the clones moments before. Why are you confused, Mizuki-sensei? Didn't you know there was a way to reinforce the clones? A way to make them much harder to get rid of? The Narutos spoke en masse, and their voices were filled with hatred. Now let me show you just how much harder they. The crowd moved closer, with 10 or so of the clones jumping for Mizuki. I have to find a way to kill them, but how? Mizuki had mere seconds to come up with a plan, but he decided that maybe they were only as strong as the original's body. Pierce the heart, sever the spine, cut the throat. Mizuki put up a good fight, dispersing a good number of the clones, but with each clone's demise, another 2 took its place. It wasn't even a minute later when the Narutos had overwhelmed him and began beating him to a pulp. A bloody and mangled pulp. Naruto took out his years of frustrations on the man, beating the sense out of Mizuki, as he had been hit so often before. Taking a page out of the villager's book, the Naruto clones dropped Mizuki to the ground and proceeded to kick him until the whimpering man was rendered silent. There I won. Mizuki was incapacitated, and Naruto's clones were shuffling around quietly, waiting for the order they knew had to come. Alright guys, time to disperse. Nodding their heads, the clones disappeared in a cloud of thick smoke. That's when it all hit Naruto. The memories of each clone hit Naruto in a rapid-fire sequence of memories. As each one came to Naruto, his mind felt a little of the mental stress of categorizing the new memories. He managed to shrug it off, as the last few flickers of the clone's memories came to him. Looking down at his hands, they shook a bit from his lack of chakra, but he figured he would be okay. Glancing at Mizuki, he tied the man up with some ninja rope he found in the Chunin's bag. When Naruto was satisfied his work, he turned to where he had left Anko's body. What? Where did her body go? Naruto stared at the spot by the base of a tree he was sure he had left her. Hell, he could even see her blood, so where was she? Looking for me, Gaki? Naruto let out a surprised yelp and jumped as Anko's voice came from right beside his ear. Turning to the voice, a smiling and very alive Anko looked back at him. She was standing not too far from him and laughing at his reaction. You really thought that guy could finish me off so easily? I took the blow and was going to launch a sneak attack. That is until you decided to attack him yourself. Had to see if my training had made it into that thick skull of yours. You were alive the whole time? And you didn't help me? Why the hell did you let me think you were dead? Naruto started quiet, and his voice quickly rose with his rage, shouting out the last part. Whoa, calm down, Gaki. I just wanted to see. Anko was cut off as Naruto jumped her, hugging her waist tightly, resting his head against her body. I don't know what I would have done without you, Anko. You've always been the one I turned to. Whenever I needed someone, you were there. You always listened to me complain. As he spoke, Naruto started crying as he realized just how much he needed her. Anko wasn't one to get emotional, and so quietly she held the boy as he cried, just like she had when she had saved him at the bridge. Soon enough the tears stopped and Naruto took an embarrassed step backward. I'm sorry. A shinobi isn't supposed to get so emotional, they're supposed to be detached, right? That's right, Gaki. But I suppose I can let it slide if you buy me some dango. She smiled at Naruto, proud he remembered her words, even if they were a bit cold. You only think with your stomach, Anko. You can get whatever you want, not just dango, you know. Yeah, but I like dango. Something wrong with that, Gaki? Besides, if I wanted something else I could just spend my hard-earned Rio on it. Or just take your Rio for it. Naruto quickly checked his pockets and let out a relieved sigh when he found Gamachan was still safe. So, what do we do about him? Anko kicked the downed man in the ribs, lifting him into the air a bit. Landing with a heavy thud, the man groaned loudly in pain. We should probably take him to the Hokage and return the scroll I stole. Naruto looked at the ground, ashamed he had let himself be so consumed by his desire to make Anko proud he had fallen for such an obvious trap. You stole it? No, Naruto. This idiot stole it, and you tracked him down. Remember, innocent until proven guilty. And this guy seems pretty out of it. I'm pretty sure we can pin the whole thing on him. We just have to make sure our stories are the same, got it? Nodding his head, Naruto listened as Anko explained the lie they would use for the situation. Inside the Hokage's office. So let me see if I understand you, Anko. You're saying this boy saw Mizuki absconding with the scroll in a henge that looked like Naruto to make it seem like Naruto was the culprit. Then, because Naruto knew that someone could only be up to trouble if they looked like him, took off after him, catching him in the forest. He then proceeded to beat the Chunin in a fight after learning that he carries the QB inside of him, took back the scroll, and ended up accidentally learning 2 forbidden techniques. That about the sum of it? Naruto shared a look with Anko, and they both nodded. Yeah, that about sums it up, but Naruto here has something he'd like to add. Smacking the boy on the back to push him forward, Anko grinned as Naruto turned to glare for a moment. He raised an eyebrow to Naruto as the boy spoke. I didn't pass the academy test. Really, Naruto? I'm a little surprised you failed. It's not in your nature to give up. The Hokage spoke gently, trying not to upset the boy, but was shocked at the boy's retort. I didn't give up. Somebody had been messing with my chakra for the bunshin, so it came out wrong. I'm pretty sure now it was Mizuki. At the time I thought it had been Irika. Ah. So are you asking for a retest? The Hokage couldn't help but smile as Naruto gave a small nod. Then it is granted, although after taking down Mizuki I don't think you need to. One moment, Naruto. Irika, you may enter now. Bursting into the room, a very disheveled and upset Irika spoke at a rapid pace to the Hokage. Is Naruto alright? What happened to him? Your secretary only told me what Mizuki had done. Speaking of him, where's Mizuki? I want to spend some time with that traitor. Failing a student on purpose, the bastard deserves a few rounds at the T&I department. Irika had spoken from his position behind Anko, and couldn't see Naruto. Hokage-sama, we need to find Naruto and let him know that he will be counted as a genin. There's no need to force him to take a test when he was failed due to my incompetence at sensing Mizuki's deception. I would also like to apologize to the boy for not realizing at the time what was going on. Anko held her laughter as best as she could, but when Irika finished she couldn't control it anymore. Just talk to the Gaki, he's right in front of us. Stepping to the side, Naruto was standing before Irika. Naruto bowing deeply, Irika tried to speak again. I'm so sorry, I should have. You should have noticed, but you didn't. Naruto's tone was harsh and bitter, but it changed as he added, I should have noticed that Mizuki was lying when he said there was another test. How about we forget the whole thing? I might just decide to take you up on that offer for Ichiraku ramen if you agree. We can forget both of our mistakes. Irika stared in open shock at the boy. You sure, Naruto? Naruto gave a slight shrug of his shoulders and thought for a minute before answering Irika. I like ramen, and you seem genuine about being sorry, so it wouldn't kill me to get some ramen, and you tag along. Fair enough? Anko was still trying to stop her chuckling at the spectacle of a grown man trying to apologize to a kid. Yeah, I'd like that, Naruto. Maybe I can redeem myself in his eyes. Maybe I could become a friend to him. He's alone just like I was at that age. So Naruto, I guess it boils down now to what do we do next? The Hokage had his hands together, and was eyeing Naruto. I still need a headband to prove I'm a genin, don't I? Naruto looked at the adults of the room, getting a nod from each as they thought about how they were going to just pull a leaf band out of nowhere when Irika came up with an idea. Alright, Naruto, close your eyes for a second. Yeah. How about no? Anko smacked the back of his head and Naruto winced. Ah, fine. No need to hit. Use your words, Anko. Again she smacked Naruto, but this time it was more than a light tap. Hey, don't give me a concussion, I'm closing my eyes, see? He did in fact close his eyes though. Irika took off his own headband and put it to the boy's head, tying it into place. Alright, open your eyes. Opening his eyes he saw Irika holding Naruto's old goggles, a happy smile on his face. What do you think? Fit alright? Irika gave me his? Thanks, Iruka-sensei. Naruto reached up and touched the headband lightly. It's kinda strange getting to wear it when I failed. Naruto smiled lightly that he had somehow passed, even after falling into such an obvious trap with Mizuki. You may have failed creating the Bunshin, but you created shadow clones. That is much more difficult to do, and so is the reinforcement technique you used. The Hokage looked at the three before him and decided that he needed to speak to Naruto alone. Anko, Iruka, please leave now so I might speak to Naruto privately. Iruka immediately turned and headed for the door, while Anko had a few indignant words she wanted to say. Why should I leave? What I say next is for Naruto's ears only. If he decides to tell you himself later, that is his choice. But I will not be questioned, Anko. I am the Hokage and you are a shinobi. Do not make it an order, please. Anko looked pissed as all hell, but after flashing a look at Naruto that all but said, you will tell me or pay, she walked out. Hokage-sama, what is it? Naruto was a bit confused as he had never seen the Sandaime so serious before. Naruto, the reinforcement technique is forbidden for reasons not mentioned in the scroll. Yes, it requires vast amounts of chakra to keep the clones from dispersing, but it comes at a greater price than that. Each time you use that jutsu, some of your chakra tears at the muscles in your hands. At first it isn't a serious problem, but the more you use the technique the more damage it does until finally your hands are rendered utterly useless. No more jutsu, no second chances. I could lose my ability to be a ninja just from one technique? After a wait of 1 week, you can use the technique again without risking your hands. But be warned, even with the waiting you can still lose them. Be careful with it. So should I just never use it? If the cost is so high, why would I even bother with it? I never said that, Naruto, but discretion is the better part of valor. Be careful with it. Another thing you should be aware of is that by reinforcing the clones, they can develop a mind of their own. A mind of their own? Alright, this just sounds like a horrible jutsu to use for extended amounts of time. Alright, Hokage-sama, I'll keep all that in mind. Is there anything else you want to say to me? Naruto was pretty sure he wouldn't, but it didn't hurt to ask. I wish I could tell you the truth of the jutsu, but once you know it can so much more easily capture you, it's not chakra that attacks you, it's the shadows you're trying to control. Be careful, Naruto, the shadows are a devastating ally and a deadly enemy. Yes. Be careful with Anko. She doesn't trust just anyone, and if you betray that trust, she can be quite the vengeful person. Naruto was confused as to what the Hokage was referring to, but by his laughter and dismissive posture, Naruto was all out of time. Walking out, Naruto closed the door behind him and was assaulted by a curious Anko. What did he say? I own your ass, Gaki, tell me now. Naruto wasn't sure why, but he repeated the words the Sandaime had said to him. He said you don't trust easily, and you're vengeful if I betray that trust. What did he mean by that? I should tell her about the jutsu, but what if I need to use it to save her or something? What she doesn't know won't hurt her. What the hell? That's what he stopped you to say. You're sure that's it? Anko stared down Naruto, but he stared her right back, and after a few moments, she let it go. He means that I don't trust many people, but I trust you. One of the few people I ever trusted screwed things up for me. And that man is going to live a painful and short life once I get my hands on him. Her words were tainted with hatred and bitter resentment. Who was he? Naruto's question turned all of her aggression to him, and she practically hissed at Naruto. None of your damn business, Gaki. She turned around and stormed off, her killer intent all that was needed to clear out those that were in her path. Well, guess that was a mistake. Sighing, Naruto took off after Anko, knowing where she was probably headed. Walking towards the worst bar in the red light distract Naruto sighed. Been a while since Anko dragged me here. Looking up at the sign he read, he shook his head. The place always had a bad reputation, as those that weren't served at the other bars could always find a drink here. There was really only a few rules to the place, the first being if you pay, you get served. Legal limit wasn't a term the bartender cared for. The second important rule, anything that happened in the bar technically didn't happen. If a fight breaks out, join in or stand to the side. As long as they don't touch the bartender, they can keep it up for as long as they like, or until someone steps in. The last rule Naruto was aware of was one Anko made sure actually had written above a table in the back. The table in the corner next to the bartender was to always remain open for her. Anyone who disputed the claim was welcome to fight her for it. There was only one dispute Naruto was aware of. The man still didn't walk right or much anymore. Pushing open the door, Naruto started the short walk to her table. Standing next to the table, Naruto could see the bottles Anko had already bought and was prepared to drink. Got room for one more, or does the sexiest kunoichi in Konoha? Cut the crap. Sit down and shut up or get out. Anko apparently wasn't in a mood to talk very much. Sitting across from her, Naruto watched her drink a couple of cups to try and cool down. So, care to talk? Slamming another drink, Anko sighed and shook her head. Not even close to drunk enough to do that, Gaki. To prove that, she took another shot of sake. Just let me drink. Naruto remained silent, instead opting to let her inebriation open her up like he was sure it eventually would. Naruto was in for a long night. Sometime around midnight. Anko, I think you've had enough. 2 bottles of sake lay defeated before the angry might of Anko, but she still hadn't told him a word. I paid for all of these, I'm going to drink them, Naruto. If it's too late for you, go back to the apartment, and let me drink in peace. Again, Anko angrily drank sake, but she seemed to spill a little. Her hand-eye coordination finally falling prey to the might of the liquor. Can't, you saved my life again. Going to have to lug your drunk ass back home. First mission as a genin, take Anko out to drink and carry her drunk ass back. Documented and everything. Naruto held up a blank napkin, making Anko grin a bit. How much is the pay on it, smartass? Looking to the napkin, Naruto pretended to study it a bit. Says it's charity? Damn it, thought I would earn something for my first mission. Anko's smile went from barely there to barely noticeable. I've taught you better than that, Naruto, never do anything for free. Especially anything you're good at. He might as well be considered good at it, he had dragged the drunk Anko home on several occasions. Well, when somebody like you owns my ass, I think it comes standard. Anko let out a light laugh, Naruto attributing it to the liquor finally making an impression on her system. Alright Anko, I'll make you a deal. Anko eyed him with a bit of suspicion. What kind of deal? Naruto smiled his own icy smile. We play a game. The stakes are if I win, I walk you home right now. If you win, I'll leave you to your drinks. How's that sound? Even drunk I've got better reflexes than the Gaki. He knows that, so what is he playing at? Alright Gaki, you've got yourself a deal. What's the game? Pulling over 3 cups from the side and a ball out of his pocket, Anko just stared. Really? There's no way in hell he can beat me at this. Putting the ball under the cup, Naruto shuffled them as quickly as he could. He was actually fairly decent, and Anko was almost drunk enough not to keep up. Almost. When Naruto finally settled the cups and smirked thinking he had won, Anko reached forward and picked up the middle cup, revealing the little ball. Nice try, Gaki, but you're not ready to beat me. Damn, guess you get what you want, Anko. Good night, I'll leave you to your drinks. Without so much as waiting for a reply, Naruto had already gotten up and left. Didn't need to run out of here, Gaki. She looked down at her sake and didn't really feel in the mood to drink anymore. Why do I care? The Gaki lost, and I get to drink in peace. It's what I wanted, another cup of sake poured and downed. So why do I feel like I would have rather lost this time? Looking at the other bottles, Anko sighed. She didn't feel like drinking until she passed out, so it was time to head home. Maybe I can catch Naruto. Downing her last cup, she left the table, an impressive 2 bottles and a half of sake defeated by the woman. She walked out the door, and looked around seeing if she could spot Naruto. He couldn't have gone far, right? It's just a few minutes difference. She didn't see him. Guess I'm walking home alone tonight. With that thought, Anko stumbled a little and started walking slowly back home. Had she not been so drunk, she might have noticed the 3 men following her, or the one worried boy that had been sitting on the rooftop watching her. Stupid Gaki, why does he care who was my mentor? Why does he care why I don't trust someone? It's my past, my business, and in shit, where's my place again? Looking around, Anko finally realized she wasn't sure just where she was. She had to reorient herself and figure out where her drunken stumble had taken her. Hey there, beautiful. What's a woman like you doing in a place like this? Not this shit, not in the mood to deal with morons. I'm too drunk to be nice, so. About to kick your ass through some concrete if you don't leave me the hell alone. Anko turned to the male voice that addressed her and saw 2 men, one that seemed a bit red. He looked like a strong guy for a civilian. The fuck did you just say? If you're going to dress like a whore, you might want to avoid this part of town. There were few things that truly pissed off Anko. The list was short and quiet, easy to guess. The first, Orochimaru, the second being refused her daily amount of sake and dango, and the third? Who are you calling a whore, punk ass? The tough guy was now noticeably redder while his buddy laughed at him. Looks like she's got a tongue on her, man. Maybe you should leave her alone. Listen to your friend. Might just save you some teeth. I'm not going to let some bitch talk down to me. Alright, that's where I draw the line. Time to break something. Anko stepped towards the 2 men, pumping some chakra into her arm and her fist to make the punch knock the man out. Then she saw both men smile, looking over her shoulder. In her drunken state, instead of looking back, she paused. That's when something heavy smashed into her temple. Anko hit the ground hard in a daze, and knew she was in for some trouble. A concussion and liquor did not make for great chakra control. She tried throwing a hand sign together, but with no notable chakra control she may have well just flipped the men off for all the good it did. Whatever it was that hit her was dropped to the ground, and she felt the man behind her yank her arms painfully behind her. Going to talk tough now, bitch? Even dazed and stunned as she was, Anko still managed to spit in the voice's general direction. After a second, she was rewarded with a satisfying hiss of anger. Too bad her satisfaction was quickly followed by the man backhanding her. You're in for it now, bitch. We were just going to have a night of fun with you, but let's see how you like being sold to a brothel. She felt the man grab her breasts, and her eyes were just focused enough to see the ugly sneer he had. Guess I should have taken Naruto up on that offer. Anko hung her head, but she wasn't going to give the man the satisfaction of seeing just how vulnerable she felt. What? Nothing to say, bitch? Again he struck her. Didn't you just call me a punk ass just a minute ago, bitch? Weren't you going to beat me through some concrete, bitch? Each time he called her a bitch he struck her harder. Well? Aren't you going to back up your tough words, bitch? This time when he hit her, she felt her lip get cut on her teeth. Spitting some blood on the man in front of her, she could hear the laughter of the man behind her, and the man beside this idiot in front of her. Alright, that's it. She felt the man grab her fishnet shirt, and something cold like a knife cut the fabric. Anko was a tough woman, she could kick some serious ass, but the way she was now she knew what was going to happen tonight. That's the moment she felt the first tear slide down her cheek, and the man struck her one last time, bringing on the black void of unconsciousness. Naruto. Naruto sat beside Anko's bed, waiting for her to come to. He had saved her the night before, and he knew there was going to be hell to pay, but he didn't care. Anko was safe, and that's what mattered to him. Hours had passed as Naruto had stayed up waiting for her to come around, but he hadn't taken her to the hospital. He wasn't sure why, but he thought Anko would be pretty pissed if she woke up there. She shifted and started moving around, trying to come around. Naruto stayed a bit back, unsure of how she would react when she woke up. Turns out he was right to back away from her. The moment her eyes opened, she was ready to kill. She snapped up and quickly looked around. Seeing she was alone with Naruto, she calmed down a bit, but she still looked like she was in a state of shock. And then Naruto? She called his name, so he slowly approached her. When he was within arm's length, she latched onto him and broke down in tears. Naruto tensed up and froze, completely unsure how to react. Just going off instinct, he sat in the bed beside her and held her. She cried for only a few minutes, but Naruto would have held her for hours if he had to. She calmed down quite a bit, and just stayed in his arms. It seemed strange, but it was comforting to have his arms around her. You know, if you tell anyone I cried, I'll kill you, right? Anko couldn't keep the embarrassment out of her voice, knowing the boy had somehow saved her. I wouldn't dream of telling anyone. We'll just chalk this up to, you went on a binge and came home. I was out alone, all right? You had no idea where I was. Naruto stressed the last bit, but Anko was just glad she didn't have to deal with anyone knowing what had almost happened to her. All right, Anko. You okay? Anko didn't really answer and just pulled Naruto a little closer and held him a bit tighter. Naruto wondered if she would still hold him so close if she knew what had happened while she was knocked out. The night before, after Anko was incapacitated, Naruto had seen enough and knew that he had to do something. He knew his anger was going to get the best of him, and he just didn't care. There was going to be hell to pay, and he knew the gatekeeper was going to ask a high price in blood. Let go of Anko now, and you get to live. Touch her any longer, your lives are forfeit. Naruto's voice rang out to the men, the first reaction of theirs being fear, but once Naruto stepped out they laughed. You're going to kill us, kid? With what, your bare hands? The one Anko assumed was the leader addressed Naruto, arrogant as when he spoke to Anko. Yes. First I'll kill him. Naruto pointed straight for the man holding the unconscious Anko. Then him. Pointed to, not the leader, but the man that had stood beside him. And finally you. Naruto ended by pointing at the leader. His voice was cold as he explained his simple plan. You made Anko bleed and cry, and you refused to leave. So you're all going to die. Naruto had no emotion behind his voice anymore. He was just stating a simple fact. Fine, kid, we'll kill you, then have some fun with this, Anko? The leader smirked. I changed my mind, I'm still going to kill you last, but it won't be quick. Naruto slowly walked forward towards the men. The men looked at the boy, and something about him seemed off. Where the boy stood, the shadows seemed to follow him, molding after the boy, taking his visage. He put his hands together, and suddenly 5 Narutos stood before them men. Dropping Anko, they turned to run from the demon boy, and saw 10 Narutos blocking the path behind them. Don't run. You'll die tired. They should have listened. They might have been able to fend off the shadow clones if they hadn't run. They might have survived the night. There was a lot of might-haves and maybes. The fact was, Naruto kept his word. After all, that was his ninja way. And this is going to be my attempt at making Naruto a lot less innocent at 12 than he was in canon. It's going to get very disturbing if I write it right, so if you're not interested in reading this gory part, hit Ctrl+F and find the words "End of Gore." Otherwise, let me know what you think after reading. Start of Gore. Naruto first created a group of clones to take Anko home. He had a promise to keep after all and would leave the clones to watch over her until he came back. Naruto managed to separate the 3 men, sending them each into a group of clones. The one that had held Anko was the first one Naruto attacked. 5 Narutos jumped him, bringing him down to his knees. He struggled and managed to throw one clone off, but after his sprint he was winded and the clone didn't even disperse. 3 Narutos held the man down and in place, not allowing him to move. Because you held Anko while that man beat her, I'm going to tear out your arms. Again, the same cold voice. This time though, it was the man that broke down and cried as he felt the onset of pain. The 2 other clones each grabbed an arm and lifted, bringing it up farther and farther. He struggled, but he had no chance as suddenly his arms dislocated with the sudden push of the clones. He cried out in pain, screaming in agony. Naruto knew no one would come for the man. In this district you watched your own hide. The clones held the limp useless arms, and then pulled on them until he felt the muscle tear, and the man's cries turned from screams to whimpers of agony. Finally, Naruto fulfilled the statement he had made before. The man lay in the dirt, his arms several feet from him and his blood pooled at his shoulders and the useless stumps that were once his arms. The man had blacked out, so the clones took one last look at the scene and knew he wouldn't wake up from it. He would be dead before morning. The clones turned away and dispersed. The second man was a bit less brutal since he had only stood with his friends. Naruto only had to use 2 clones to attack the man. One to take his attention, the other to sneak behind him and slit his throat. He looked surprised as he fell to his knees, looking at the boy. Naruto wondered what the man's last thoughts were as the light went out from his eyes as the blood poured from the wound. Falling forward, the last vision the man had was of Naruto standing before him. There was no smile on the boy's face. Just the same grim demeanor he had before. The man fell into the dust, and his blood soon stopped flowing, leaving only a large pool. The clones looked to each other, and with a grim nod they dispersed. The last man, Naruto, let run a good distance. Naruto let him run until the leader seemed sure he had lost the boy. When he stopped, a clone dropped in front of the man. Then another, and another. Soon enough 7 Narutos surrounded him. The leader looked panicked. After all, he had run until his lungs felt like they would catch fire. The Naruto stood at a distance and waited, confusing the leader. That is until another Naruto, the real Naruto, walked forward. Those there are my clones. I am the real one. I figured if I was going to kill you, I'd make it a little more personal. The man was afraid, and he had a damn good reason to be. Look, kid. I'm sorry. Whatever you want, it's yours. I've got money, thousands of Ryo, I'll give it all to you. I don't want Ryo. Naruto fell silent, stepping closer to the man. He stepped back, then was pushed forward by the Naruto clone at his back. Naruto could see the fear in the man's eyes. What do you want then? Anything, anything. Name it, it's yours. Naruto stepped forward again, this time with each word. What do I want? I want. The man stood before the small boy, and learned what it was to truly fear a demon. I want. 2 clones kicked the back of the man's knees, dropping him to be eye to eye with the demon boy before him. Leaning forward, Naruto whispered into his ear. I want your soul. The man didn't even see the knee that hit him in the solar plexus. He keeled over from it, and felt an elbow smash into the back of his neck. It was hard enough to drop him to the floor, but not nearly enough to let the man pass out. 5 clones held him down as the real Naruto turned to the remaining 2. Break his hands. The man, hearing it, struggled for a moment, but with the number of clones holding him down, there was no way he was moving. Stomping onto the man's hand, he broke only a few fingers, getting him to cry out. Keep screaming. No one will come to save you. This night will be the last one you spend alive, but it will be the longest you've ever experienced. When the Shinigami takes you, he will know I marked your soul, and even he will feel pity for the broken husk that will be all that is left. With his head buried in the dirt, he knew there was nothing he could do to stop the boy, so he saved his strength, hoping to surprise the kid with a burst of strength and kill him. This kid doesn't know who he's dealing with. Your friends are dead now. The one that held Anko, I ripped his arms out of his socket. The one that was so silent, I cut his throat and watched him bleed to death. You're the last one. No way, they can't be dead, don't believe me? Alright, let's go see. The clones grabbed the man and dragged him the short way to his first buddy, the alley where he had slit the man's throat. The man gasped when he saw his friend, the pool of blood proving the man's demise. Believe me now? They got to go quickly, you don't get that luxury. The man lost all thought and only began to fight Naruto's clones. They held firm and Naruto backhanded the man. What happened to your plan to fight me when it would shock me? How did he know what I was thinking? Now you're thinking about how I knew what you were thinking. I'm a demon that has claimed your soul. Nothing you know is off limits to me. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. The thoughts repeated in the man's head. This is all real, let your pain prove it. Naruto had only guessed at the man's thoughts, but breaking his mind had proved fairly easy. Breaking his body was even easier, it only took time. End of gore. The knock at the door roused Naruto from his memory. Anko had fallen asleep again, so he gently laid her back on the bed and created 3 clones. Please watch over her, guys, you know how much she means to me. The clones nodded, not saying a word. Walking to the door, he opened it and saw the ANBU waiting for him. Hokage-sama demands your presence in the council chambers. There is a matter of grave importance you are needed to discuss. I'll go. Is there any way we can get there quickly? I need to get back here as soon as possible. The ANBU didn't say a word, only offering a hand. Taking it, the ANBU threw up a single hand sign and they appeared before the great doors of the council chamber. Naruto knew he was in for a hell of a day. After all, the sun hadn't even risen yet, and he hadn't even slept. It took a second for Naruto to orient himself, but once he was oriented he walked to the doors and pushed them open. Naruto Uzumaki reporting as requested, Hokage-sama. Naruto gave a small bow to the Hokage that was straight ahead of him. Turning to the right he saw a few civilians, more than likely the ones that had requested this trial. Again he bowed to them, though it was more of just a slight tilt of his head. Looking to the left he saw the leaders of the various clans of Konoha. To them he bowed a bit deeper, showing more respect for those that risked their lives to protect the village. Naruto may not like the villagers, but the village was still home. With the formalities out of the way, Naruto turned to the Hokage. Why was I summoned here? Naruto had a pretty good idea, but feigning ignorance was one of the things he had learned from Anko. Innocent until proven guilty. You know exactly why, murderer. One of the merchants in the civilian side yelled out to Naruto, but was quickly silenced by a look from the Hokage. Do not speak out of turn, Mitarashi-san. Turning to face Naruto, some of the agitation left him. Naruto, you have been called here to stand trial for the murder of 3 men. Do you have anything to say in your defense? What Naruto did next surprised almost everyone but immediately pissed off the civilian side. Naruto began to laugh. Naruto, I don't think you understand the seriousness of this allegation. You are being charged with 3 counts of murder. What has happened to you, Naruto? Laughing at charges like these? I was well within my right to kill them. Naruto had stopped laughing and his voice held no emotion, he was simply stating facts. See? The boy admits he killed them. There is no evidence there was a reason for him to attack them, he killed them in cold blood. Another male voice rang out from the civilian side, but this time it wasn't the Hokage that silenced him, but the Nara clan leader, Shikaku Nara. How do you know there was no reason? We haven't even asked the boy for them. Turning to watch Naruto, the leader watched him and studied him. So how about it? What was the reason for their deaths, Naruto? Simple, they attempted to attack a shinobi of Konoha. They assaulted him repeatedly and did not heed the warning their lives would be ended if they didn't stop. Naruto again spoke with no emotion, but he stumbled over the word him and hoped the Nara didn't catch it. Naruto, who did these men attack? The Hokage knew the law that any shinobi may protect themselves and lethally so if need be, but it was hard to imagine Naruto had known beforehand. They attacked me? So I killed the 3 of them. The civilian side roared as the clan heads looked shocked. Only the Hokage managed to barely hold his composure. This can't be correct. Naruto failed the test to become a genin. Even so, there was no need to kill the men he heals so rapidly, he could easily have been fine. The rapid-fire amount of comments from them irritated Naruto, and so he decided he had had enough. So let me see if I understand correctly, you are saying I should have laid down and taken the beating because I would survive? Damn right you should have taken the beating. The man with the last name Mitarashi spoke again. Then how about this, I'll cut you 1,000 times, none of them deep or lasting with only a slight amount of blood loss. Then you can go to the hospital and instantly be healed of all those cuts. Would you sit there as I cut you or would you fight me, Mitarashi? The man paled at the comparison but still was defiant. That's not the same thing, and you know it, boy. Nodding his head, Naruto agreed. You're right. It's not the same, so let me take a piece of metal and smash it into your temple. Let me tear the muscles in your shoulders as I try and rip your arms from your socket. Let me put a knife in your belly and slowly drag it to the side. Naruto walked towards the man, stepping up onto the desk before he stood above the cowering man. Let me do all of that as just the beginning of your torment because I waited for an hour while they tortured me. So you know what? I don't care what you think, you villagers will not lay another damn hand on me. I am done being your fucking whipping boy. The next person to try and hurt me, I won't let die so easily as the 3 I killed. So go ahead, tell the villagers to fear me, let them know exactly what I did to those men. You always feared me, now you have a reason to be afraid. With that, Naruto hopped off the desk away from the man so pale he was almost white. Landing in the center, he turned on his heels and walked to the door, opening it. Looking over his shoulder at the council one last time, he added, "Goodbye, Hokage-sama." With that, he closed the door. He could hear the council in an uproar behind him, but he knew he was in the right. Turning to one of the ANBU, he asked, "Think you can do the whole instant transport thing to get me back where I came from?" The ANBU guards didn't move and Naruto took that to mean he had to walk. Guess I'm walking back. I should probably get started before they try and have me go back in there. With that, Naruto took off for Anko's house, hoping she was still fine. 3 clones worth of memories hit him in rapid fire sequence, each ending with a pissed off and very awake Anko. She's definitely feeling better, Naruto thought with a smile. He picked up his speed. Inside the council chambers, Naruto looked back at the council and said, "Goodbye, Hokage-sama." The door closed behind him, and Hiruzen sighed as the place burst into a frenzy of yelling and demands. "You can't let him leave. He has crimes to pay for. He can't threaten us. We demand that he be brought back. He is no shinobi. How can he claim to be protected under the law? It doesn't matter if he is a shinobi, the way those men died is unbelievable." "Silence," the Sandaime demanded, and soon enough a silence fell over those that were in the room. "I personally promoted Naruto to genin during the night when he caught a rogue nin that had stolen the scroll of seals. He was supposed to go home and rest until team assignment today, but I have to assume he was assaulted on the street." The shinobi side remained quiet, but a few seemed angry. The civilian side was more vocal about what they wanted, particularly Kisame Mitarashi. "That can't be right. Wasn't he the one that was first accused of stealing it?" He cleared his name with the assistance of Anko Mitarashi. He didn't see the need to explain further than that. To answer your other concerns, he can threaten you all he wants. If he attacks you first, though, that's when we will deal with his transgression. Considering how he's been treated for the past 12 years, it's a small wonder all 3 men weren't eviscerated for attacking him. The Sandaime paused to allow his words to sink in for the civilian council. "I also won't ask him back here, as he deserves rest after not 1 fight but 2, both of which was a betrayal. The first by his sensei, the second by the very people he's risking his life for as a leaf nin." He tried to keep any emotion from his voice, but everyone in the room could tell he was not in the best of moods. "Now if the civilian council would leave, I have some things I have to discuss with the clan heads." They grumbled, they complained, but they left knowing they could not argue with the Hokage. It took a few minutes, but after they had all left and the door finally swung shut, the Hokage let a light sigh out. "Now it is time to decide how the young genin will be assigned to teams." Naruto. Standing in front of Anko's door, Naruto was debating actually opening the door. After all, she had dispersed his 3 clones and had looked a bit pissed. Deciding she would find him later even if he didn't walk through the door, he just went for it and opened the door. Anko's hand shot out, grabbed a fistful of his shirt, and yanked him inside. Feeling a weapon at his throat, Naruto decided not to fight her and see if he was going to live much longer. "Did you tell?" "Huh? Did I tell what? Did you say anything about last night?" Slowly he shook his head and Anko withdrew whatever was on his neck. "Good. Where did you go, and why did you leave clones with me?" "I went to deal with what I did last night. I left clones so I could make sure you're safe." "You don't really need it, but better safe than sorry, right?" Naruto felt Anko's shift behind him. She let go of him and wordlessly walked back to her bed. Falling into it, she got comfortable and laid down facing the wall, leaving Naruto standing by the door. Staring at him back, Naruto wondered if he should stay or go. It was only a few hours until he had to be up and awake to be set in his squad. She seemed like she didn't really want him around, so Naruto walked to the door and was about to open it. "Gaki, come here." Surprised she had said anything, Naruto walked to her bed. "Lay down." Following her direction, he laid down beside her and moved to be just at her back. Without saying anything, he put an arm around her. She stiffened at his touch at first but settled and left his arm where it was. She didn't say anything and neither did he, both of them left to their thoughts. Naruto's thoughts were simple. I wonder if she's okay. She hasn't said much since those guys attacked her. Why did they cut up her shirt though? Naruto knew she wasn't going to talk about anything unless she felt ready, so he only hugged against her tighter. That's when he felt her hand softly brush his, then laced her hand in his. Anko's thoughts were not quite as simple. What would have happened to me if Naruto hadn't done whatever he had? What if those men had done what they were planning? I saved Naruto's life plenty of times, but he seems to care about more than just that debt to me. He seems like he cares. That's when she put her hand on his and after hesitating for a moment held his hand. Is this what it's like to have someone that cares about you? Both shared the thought, and both weren't too sure. Naruto held her tighter and laid his head against her back. She held his hand tightly, feeling him lay his head against her. Anko? Naruto barely whispered as he was kind of nervous about what he was going to ask, and partially because he was so close to her. Yagaki? Anko was just as quiet. Is this what it's like to love someone? Naruto could feel Anko's steady breathing and assumed she had fallen asleep, so he quietly added something he wasn't sure he could have said if she was awake. Because I love you. Naruto closed his eyes and let her steady breathing lull him to sleep. After all he had been through, it didn't even take him a minute to fall asleep. Anko. Is this what it's like to love someone? She wasn't sure how to answer, so she stayed quiet. She hadn't ever been in love, so she didn't know. She waited, trying to think of something to respond with when what he said whispered next hit her. Because I love you. It was so quiet she was almost sure she had imagined it. She almost believed it, but she knew he had said it. He loves me? The kid is only 12 and he doesn't know anything truly about me. How can he be in love with me? Maybe he just means he loves me like I'm family or something. She tried to rationalize it as best she could, but she knew that Naruto hadn't meant it like that. He loves me. The thought was in her mind, and she didn't know how she felt. She didn't let anyone get this close to her, but here was this boy half her age and he was holding her and she was holding his hand. She wasn't entirely sure how she felt about Naruto, but she knew one thing. He probably thought I didn't hear him. She wouldn't let him know she had heard, but it meant a lot to Anko. He might never know, but he's the only one to ever say something like that to me. Thank you. Naruto. Turning herself, she faced Naruto. She had let go of his hand and left it around her, so she put her arms around him and pulled him to her, letting him rest his head against her heart. Gaki, I wish I had helped you when you were younger. Maybe then we both could have had happier lives. She leaned forward and softly kissed his forehead. Sleep tight, Gaki. Sweet dreams. With that she stroked the back of his head, running her hand through his hair. She smiled as Naruto softly began smiling. I must be getting soft. She laid there with him, not feeling all that tired, and waited for the sun to peek through her window. She settled against Naruto, and soon enough she was out as well. She may have not felt tired, but it was still late, and she was still a bit drunk. Naruto. He was having a wonderful dream about ramen, never-ending bowls of ramen, when something bright hit his eyelids. It brought him out of his sleep, and Naruto tried to bury his head in the bed to keep from getting up. The bed was a lot warmer and softer than he was used to. Putting a hand under his head, he heard a very feminine moan. What the hell? Opening his eyes, he was face first in Anko's chest, his hand on her breast. Looking up, she seemed pretty asleep, so Naruto gently took another squeeze to see if it had been her voice. Her face got red and she let out another moan, louder this time, and seemed she was stirring from her sleep. Taking his hand off her breast, he put his arm around her waist and she settled back down a bit. Well, that was interesting. Looking to the clock for a moment, Naruto settled back against Anko. It's only 7. Wait, 7? Shit! Naruto jumped out of the bed and straight for the door. Can't be late, can't be late. Naruto opened the door and was out in a moment, leaving Anko alone in her bed. Stupid cold, she grabbed her blanket and pulled it over her head. Naruto was running as hard and as fast as he could to get to the academy. He had only a few minutes before the squads were assigned and he had an almost 10-minute run. Crap, I'm going to be late, damn it. I won't be late after barely making Genin. Putting on another burst of speed, Naruto fed some chakra to his legs. He made it to the academy with less than 30 seconds until he thought the squads would be assigned, so he decided to skip the door and jump up to the window and get in that way. Catching the window, he dived in, hit the table, and rolled. Popping a handstand, he flipped himself into the air and landed on his feet, out of breath but proud of making it on time. Naruto? Iruka was alone in the classroom reading an orange-covered book Naruto couldn't make out the title of. Naruto, why are you here so early? Early? Echoing his thoughts, Naruto's voice squeaked out, early? I'm here early? Anya Naruto, you're supposed to show up at 8. Iruka slowly put down the book, marking his spot, and dropping it into a drawer. 8? Falling back, Naruto landed in a seat. I could have stayed in bed with Anko for another 40 minutes. Naruto looked down at the hand that had fondled one of her breasts, and lightly squeezed the air his hands, remembering the soft feel of her. She was soft there. Naruto, do you want something to do? Iruka hadn't really had no idea what to do with the boy that had shown up so early. Usually Iruka was lucky if the kids showed up 10 minutes late to this specific day. Iruka was also wondering what the hell Naruto meant by staying in bed with Anko, but as he had just been reading Ika, his mind quickly come to a speculation. Especially the way the boy was looking to his hand and squeezing the air. Iruka was getting a slight nosebleed. No, I think I'm just going to put my head down. Following his words, Naruto did just set his head down. He had some sleep to catch up on. Iruka, on the other hand, reached into his drawer and pulled out his book. It had become wildly popular as of late, and featured a young hero falling in love and seducing his teacher. She was a difficult woman, but somehow the boy found a way to win her heart. Iruka let out a small smile as he felt a small bit of warm blood flow from his nose. Almost an hour later. Naruto was still knocked out cold, and Iruka had already put his book away when the first person walked through the door, followed by the second and third. What the hell is he doing here? He failed. Hey, dead last. Wake up. Kiba had walked closer and closer to Naruto until he had screamed into his ear the last bit. He would have said more, but his yelling was ended by a first hitting him in the jaw. Kiba flew back and hit the wall, cracking the stucco slightly. Shino had on his usual expressionless look, Hinata looked surprised, and Kiba looked unconscious. Akamaru tried to stir his master, yipping at him. It may not have been enough to rouse Kiba, but it pulled Naruto fully awake. What's going on? Naruto picked up his head and shook it a bit, pulling himself fully from his sleep. You knocked out Kiba in a single punch, Naruto. Shino answered the question as the others in the room were too shocked to. Shit, I heard yelling and punched. I thought it was just part of my dream. Naruto looked over at Kiba on the ground and the barking pup. He walked over to the down Inuzuka heir and picked him up, carrying him over to his usual seat. This is where he usually sits, right? The silent two at the front nodded and Naruto dropped him into the seat. There we go. Walking to his usual seat at the middle by the window, he dropped down and waited as the class slowly shuffled in. It took a while, but soon enough the class was in its normal rhythm, Sasuke at his side, one of the Sasuke fan club on the other. Today's lucky winner was Ino, and she was pretty pissed about Naruto's refusal to move. Baka! Move so I can sit next to my Sasuke-kun. Ino may not be as loud as Sakura, but she was a lot more determined. I like Ino, I'll make you a bet. I win, you leave me alone. You win, we switch. How does that sound to you? Ino squealed, so Naruto took it as a yes. Alright, to make it fair, I'll give you 2 chances. I'll bet something, then you can. So I bet you won't kiss the next person to walk through those doors. Ino turned and waited for the next person. A very disgruntled and pissed Sakura opened the door and stepped through. Slamming it behind herself, she didn't even look at Ino, taking a seat as far to the back as she possibly could and emanating waves of anger and hatred. No one dared to say a thing to her, even going so far as to vacate the seats immediately around her. So, do I win? Naruto smiled, knowing he had won the wager, but wasn't so eager as Ino made her bet. If you can kiss her, sure. Well shit, didn't see that coming, so going to go through with it, or do I get my Sasuke-kun? Naruto thought it over and even saw Iruka shake his head, saying it was just not a good idea. Smiling, Naruto performed a basic henge. In a puff there was another Sasuke, this one mirroring the look of the other. Standing up, Naruto walked over to Sakura and sat next to her. She didn't look up. Get away from me now, I might let you walk. Stay a second longer, I break your legs and you can crawl. In Sasuke's voice, Naruto said, and if I can make you feel better, would you still break my legs? Sakura's eyes snapped to him, and she was utterly distracted to the point she started stuttering. SS Sasuke-kun. I didn't. I mean, Naruto silenced her by putting a finger to her lips, then he leaned forward and lightly kissed her lips. When he pulled away, Sakura turned bright red, got a faint nosebleed, then fainted. Turning to Ino, Naruto stood up and dropped the henge. I win, Ino. Come sit up here next to her, acting pissed. You lost the bet after all. Ino didn't even bother arguing, instead standing and opting to go sit beside her. It may not have been Sasuke, but it was about as close as either of them had ever come. Sitting beside Sasuke, Naruto had a few words for the last Uchiha. You owe me for that. I don't like Sakura, and with that she'll be too nervous to talk around you. So you owe me now. Sasuke looked a bit more pissed than usual at that, but he didn't argue. Iruka took that as a signal to begin his speech and to announce the teams. And to skip ahead on all this, we're leaving the teams the same as they always have been: Team 7 Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. Simple and clean. Then we've got Ino Shikacho, and finally Team Shino, Hinata, and Kiba. Naruto sat next to Sasuke, his legs up on the table and his chair kicked back so he could feel a bit more relaxed. Sasuke was fidgeting his leg and was getting antsy, and Sakura was on cloud 9. She didn't seem to care in the slightest that her new sensei was over late by more than an hour and a half. She had been kissed by her Sasuke-kun. He didn't seem all that happy now, and he didn't acknowledge it, but Sakura knew he had enjoyed it. She just knew it in her heart. She wasn't even mad Ino had set up a trap at her house that had delayed her from making it to her beloved Sasuke-kun, but he had made it all better when she had gotten to the class. And then she had gotten put onto the same squad as him. It was like Kami was smiling down on her. It was a small detail. Naruto was part of her squad, but that didn't matter. She would get close to him, and they would become a couple, and then she fainted again. Naruto heard the girl hit the ground again. Waste of a first kiss. Should have just switched with Ino. Naruto sighed, walked to the blackboard, and grabbed one of the erasers. Checking to see it had a decent amount of chalk on it, he walked over to the door and slid it closed on the eraser. That won't work. Our sensei is a jonin. He would never fall for such an idiotic prank. Naruto shrugged. If it works, I get a cheap laugh. It doesn't, no harm done. Besides, I had to kiss that. Naruto pointed in the general direction of Sakura. I deserve a little bit of a laugh. Sasuke didn't say anything else. He was a person of few words, especially any that didn't matter. He also kind of agreed with Naruto. Sakura had come to just a bit, and was trying to come up with a way to talk to Sasuke that wouldn't end with her a giggling mess or passed out from the thoughts she had when they all heard footsteps in the hall walking towards the door to their class. The steps stopped outside the door. Wonder if they are going to let the eraser hit them. The door opened and Kakashi Hatake stepped through, the eraser lightly landing on his head and bouncing off. Why did he let it hit him? Sakura thought. Is this really going to be our sensei? How am I to avenge my clan if he falls for such a stupid trap? Sasuke's mood darkened as he thought. Naruto was a little more vocal about his thoughts. You really fell for that, huh? Not much for first impressions, are you? Naruto lightly chuckled as Kakashi's gaze went from Sakura to Sasuke, and finally, to Naruto. Got anything to say about the eraser? Nothing about the eraser, but my first impression of you all? He looked at Sakura. I don't like you. Glancing at Sasuke. You can stop giving me that glare, I don't like you either. Shifting his gaze to Naruto. The prank was obviously you, and I don't like you. All of you meet me on the roof. With that, Kakashi used a jutsu and vanished. Sakura looked like she was in shock. Sasuke's black mood had gotten even darker. Looks like we've got an appointment, guys. Let's not keep the man waiting. Who wants a chiraku? Naruto had an impish smile that spread first to Sasuke, getting him to give a devilish grin. Yeah, how about it? Wouldn't want to keep our sensei waiting. It dawned on Sakura what they were planning, and she slowly let out a shy smile. Let's get going, guys. Naruto was the first out the door, followed by Sasuke with Sakura on his heels. They walked out the school and began walk the short distance to the ramen stand. 30 minutes later. Where the hell are they? Kakashi didn't think it would take them this long to get up to the roof. Are they afraid of me because I said I didn't like them? It was just a small joke, maybe I should go see where they are and explain that. Sighing, Kakashi stood up and shined back to the class. Opening the door, he tried to speak in as light a voice that implicated a smile as he could. I was just joking about not liking you guys. No need to. Kakashi stopped speaking when he realized he was talking to an empty classroom. The hell? Looking around, Kakashi tried to decipher just where the hell his team had gotten to. Team 7. Ichiraka has always makes the best ramen. Naruto was ecstatic he was getting some of his favorite ramen. He was sure that they didn't hate him too much, and as long as he paid they were always happy to offer a smile. Always the best for our most valued customer, and his friends. I let out a happy smile. She always loved having the kid around, his protective snake woman not so much. Least he finally made some friends his own age. He won't have that woman scaring everyone when he comes here for his ramen. There's that smile we love to see on him. Ayame and her father, Tucci, had always had a soft spot for the boy. He had lived a hard life and was always welcome at their stand. This is really good. Sakura was pretty surprised by the stand. She had expected it to be somewhat run down to allow Naruto to eat there, but when they had arrived they looked happy to see the blonde idiot. Does he come here that often? Sakura wondered to herself. It's alright, Sasuke was just as surprised as Sakura, but he had learned to keep most of his emotions under control. So this is what Naruto eats every day might explain his love for ramen. This is pretty good. Sasuke wasn't going to say as much out loud, but Ichiraka had impressed him. For such a small stand, they worked a lot harder for their food than some of the restaurants Sasuke frequented when he didn't feel like cooking. Guys, now that we've had some food, think we should go check up on our sensei? He might be kinda worried we haven't shown up yet. Naruto was always up for messing around, but they had taken their sweet time enjoying ramen and they did need to talk to their sensei at some point. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. Kakashi's voice came from right behind Naruto. Guess that point is now. Since you guys have decided to meet here, might as well save ourselves the trouble of getting up to the roof. Sakura slowly nodded, worried that Naruto had gotten them all into trouble. Sasuke was still sipping the broth his ramen, pretending not to care. Naruto just moved over to sit beside Sakura to allow Kakashi to sit down where he was. Always show some respect to those who lead you or others. It's a difficult job in its own right to lead, so don't be a complete gaki. Anko's words rang in Naruto's mind. Sorry we took so long. Thought I should treat the team to some ramen to build the relationship a little before we met with you. Naruto was a bit surprised by the pleasant eye smile that Kakashi gave at his words. No worries, but technically you're not a team yet. The shock was evident in all the Genin's faces, and Sakura gave voice to what they were all thinking. What do you mean we aren't a team? Aren't we all Genin? I mean exactly what I said, and none of you are Genin yet. Kakashi gave a light pause for dramatic effect. He was a bit disappointed when it seemed Sasuke had regained his composure, and so Kakashi only had the rapt attention of Naruto and Sakura. 2 out of 3 isn't too bad. You have to pass the real test to become Genin. Real test? I thought the academy test we passed was the only Genin test. Now Naruto was confused and a little irritated. He wasn't happy how much this was sounding like Mizuki's trap. Naruto didn't believe that it was a trap, but he wasn't going to be caught off guard if it was. The academy test was to see if we were capable of being Genin, and your test is to prove that we should be Genin. That about right? Sasuke's answer was exactly spot on. Kakashi nodded at the Uchiha. Yes, that's exactly correct, Sasuke. Many people have the ability to be a Genin, but not nearly as many are actually ready for the reality of it. My test is to see if you are, but before that, we'll be learning a bit more about each other. As in your name, hobbies, likes, dislike, and your dreams for the future. That kind of stuff. Kakashi figured that should be enough information to get a read on the kids before him. Sensei, why don't you show us what you mean? Sakura was curious as to what he would say, and even Sasuke set down his bowl to listen. Guess I can tell them a few things. Alright, my name is Kakashi Hatake. For hobbies I have some. I like many things. I don't dislike as many. As for my dreams, I don't feel like telling you. The students looked a bit deflated at that answer, each realizing that he had really only told them his name. Pointing at Sakura, he said, "You're next, Pinky?" A little insulted by the nickname, Sakura did her best to answer. My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are looking to Sasuke. A light blush came to her face. My hobbies are again looking to Sasuke. Her blush deepened and she gave a light giggle. My dreams for the future are. She took one more look at Sasuke and she turned a deep shade of velvet. And I hate Naruto Baka, and Ino Pig. With that she sat down. Okay, love one teammate and hate the other, huh? Just perfect, your turn. Kakashi pointed at Sasuke as he just finished the broth. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't like much. I dislike a great many things. I have no hobbies. I have no dream. As one does not act on dreams, I have an ambition, a vision. I will destroy a certain someone and bring back the might of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke glared, and Kakashi worried for the boy. The life of an Avenger is only a fool's choice. Don't let your hatred consume you or you'll find you're more like the one you want to get rid of. Sighing, Kakashi lastly pointed at Naruto. Your turn. Please let him be semi-normal. Kakashi let a silent prayer go to Kami. Kami had a great answer for him. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My hobbies are drinking, gambling, and kicking the ass of anyone that tries to start a fight with me. My likes are sake, dango, ramen, and Anko. My dislikes are hangovers, screaming women, and anyone who tries to hurt Anko or me. My dream is to be left alone. To be something that makes the village respect me and ashamed of how they once treated me. I'll be whatever I need to be for that to happen. Naruto gave a wide smile at the last part. Not a normal one in the bunch, not a single one. Guess that's not too unusual for a ninja. Normal equals dead, so at least these 3 seem somewhat unique. Alright. Guess that works for introductions. Last thing I need to tell you, the test is tomorrow at dawn. It'll be at training ground 7 and don't bother eating, you'll only puke it up. With that, Kakashi stood and walked away from the Genin. Maybe they'll be the first to make it through my test. Snorting, Kakashi took out his Ika book. Not likely the way those three act, but you never know. Leaning into his book, he walked home reading the latest book in the series. So far, the main character had been captured and his jailer was a very attractive and young woman. So it's a mind game you wanted to start with. Interestingly, underestimate you, then follow your orders without question. What game are you playing, Hataki-san? Guys, I'm heading home. I'll meet you there. Naruto stood from the stool, leaving enough money for all their meals. The two hardly said a word as Naruto left. Instead, Sasuke was trying to think of how to get home without Haruno following him, and Sakura trying to find a way to accomplish the opposite. Sasuke-kun, would you like to walk me home? She thought maybe something simple would get him to come along. After all, they had shared a kiss, so maybe they would share another at her doorstep. The possibility made her giggle and told Sasuke what she was thinking. That wasn't me. I can take a guess what you're thinking, and I'm telling you right now that was not me. Sasuke said the last part slowly, partially because he wanted to emphasize it, partly because he wanted to make sure it got across. So someone else kissed me? Sakura was horrified at the thought, and immediately began to apologize to Sasuke. If I had known it wasn't you, I would have hit them. I wanted you. It never would have happened then. I wasn't going to kiss you, Sakura. Good night. Sasuke got up and walked away, leaving Sakura confused and in shock. Sasuke didn't, but then who did? Sakura walked home wondering who she was going to murder for stealing her first kiss and pretending to be Sasuke. Naruto opened the door to his apartment. Stepping in, he looked towards the kitchen to make sure the dishes were done and the trash gone. He'd rather get it out of the way now than put it off until morning. Seeing nothing, he smiled. Guess I haven't been home too often. Walking over to the bed, he pulled off his shirt and tossed it to the side. For some reason, Anko had engraved the habit of stripping before bed into him. Laying down, Naruto smiled. He was going to have an interesting day tomorrow with Kakashi. After all, he had learned a few things from Anko about mind games. The next day, 1 hour after dawn. Where the hell are they? Sakura was hungry, tired, and pissed. Sasuke remained silent, correctly assuming Sakura had done the same as him and followed the instruction not to eat. It was an hour after Kakashi had said to meet, and neither Naruto or Kakashi were anywhere to be found. That changed to just Kakashi when Naruto suddenly appeared walking towards the duo carrying a large backpack. Hey teammates! How are you doing? Naruto was smiling happily as he walked towards the two staring daggers at him. Didn't eat, huh? That's what Kakashi-sensei told us to do. Then how about this? He said to get here before dawn, right? Where is he? Naruto looked around, acting like he expected to see the man. He isn't here. Sasuke decided to answer to keep Sakura from yelling. He wasn't in the mood for it. Then I guess he won't notice if you have some food. Surprising them both, Naruto dropped the backpack and started pulling out random dishes along with rope and other ninja tools. The containers over there have some breakfast foods, and so pop them open and have at them. Naruto pointed at the dishes he had tossed out along with a few more containers of other things. Sasuke and Sakura each took a dish and started packing it down. This is pretty decent. Did Naruto cook this? Sasuke looked at Naruto with a small amount of respect. Still dead last of the class though, so he'll probably drag us all down. Smirking, Sasuke quickly finished the meal. Sakura was a little more refined and took longer to finish her food, but was just as shocked to find the food bearable. Did Naruto cook this? I thought he only ever had ramen. She didn't say it, but she was happy that he had brought the food. Naruto was busy going over what he planned to do to make Kakashi squirm, and hoped that he had the right idea of what Kakashi wanted. Guess we'll find out when he gets here. Naruto gave a small smile, wondering if anything he had planned would work. After he had checked all his gear, all there was to do was wait for Kakashi. 10:45 a.m. The three had passed the time by various means. Naruto had fallen asleep underneath a tree, Sakura had been coming up with plans to get together with Sasuke, and Sasuke had been brooding. Kakashi appeared before the three of them with his usual calm demeanor, and his classic eye smile. Hey there. I came across a black cat and had to walk all the way around the village where I came across an elderly woman that looked in need of some help, and I. The excuse was pretty long and Sakura and Sasuke started to tune it out. Kakashi sensed he was losing his audience, and just decided to get along with the test. Sakura, please wake up, Naruto. We're about to begin the test. Sakura quickly jumped up and walked over to Naruto. Naruto Baka, wake up. She called out to him as she came closer, stopping beside him, stooping to shake his shoulder. Baka, wake up. Shaking him a bit more roughly, Naruto started waking up. Damn it, Anko, I didn't buy any today. Let me sleep a little longer. Shifting, Naruto moved out from under her hand and curled against the tree. Who the hell is Anko, and what didn't he buy that should let him sleep longer? Sakura thought from a moment, and went so red, rubies were jealous. As her nose began to bleed, she stood up and walked back over to Kakashi. He awake? Kakashi was a little surprised as Sakura walked right by him and sat down in the grass. Why is she so red? Sighing, Kakashi guessed it was up to him to wake Naruto. Sasuke, go check on Sakura and see if she has a fever. She was pretty red and I think I saw blood on her lip. Sasuke glared at Kakashi but followed the order. Kakashi walked over to Naruto and shook the boy, trying to wake him. Naruto. Time to wake up, time to take the test. The hell, Kakashi-sensei, when did you get here? Naruto rubbed his eyes, trying to wake himself up. Guess we're about to take the test, right? Yeah, but what did you say to Sakura? She seems pretty dazed right now. Kakashi was more curious about what the kid had mentioned in his sleep about Anko. Nothing. Just thought she was Anko, so I told her I didn't buy sake. Why? Naruto looked confused, as did Kakashi. Why would she get red over that? Well, it wasn't Kakashi's problem. Straightening out, he walked back over to where Sasuke was kneeling and Sakura was sitting. Alright. Sakura, are you alright now? She gave a light nod of her head. Yeah, I'm fine, Kakashi-sensei. She was pretty quiet and Sasuke stood and walked away from her after that. Kakashi looked at him hoping for an explanation and only got a shrug in response. Naruto had gotten up and stood beside Sasuke. Alright, guess we're about ready to start. Kakashi had all of their attention, so he continued. It's a pretty simple test. Get these bells from me and you pass. If not, you go back to the academy for another year. Pulling out 2 bells, he lightly shook them, making it clear they were the target. Kakashi-sensei, there's only 2 bells. Sakura pointed out the obvious while Naruto and Sasuke remained quiet. This can't be right, there's always 3-man squads, isn't there? I won't let them get in my way, I have to complete my vision. Sasuke clenched his fists with determination. Confusion and determination, wonder what they're thinking. Yes, that's right. There are 2 bells. One of you is guaranteed to be sent back to the academy. Shock registered on Naruto's face. That can't be right, every squad has 3 genin, and their sensei. It suddenly clicked for Naruto, and he smiled. Sakura looked worried as well. What if she had to be sent away from her Sasuke-kun? No! He'll get one of those bells, then I will. We'll be together without Naruto Baka and we'll get closer to each other, and Sakura's worry burned away with the fire of her determination. I will succeed. Sasuke couldn't care less if there were 2 bells. He was guaranteed to get one as the Rookie of the Year, and he doubted the other 2 would get one. With one-on-one training I might become strong enough. This better not be a waste of time. Kakashi saw the 2 reactions, and Sasuke's blank face. Looks like at least one of them got it. Alright, I'll use this timer. I'll set it for an hour so you'll know when it's noon. If any of you can get a bell by then, you're safe. Remember to attack me as if you intend to take my life, that's the only way you'll get a bell. Understood? Each of the students voiced their understanding. Alright. Tying the bells to his belt, he set the timer for an hour, and set it down on the stump by him. Begin! Immediately Sakura and Sasuke disappeared in a blur of speed. Naruto was left standing before Kakashi, looking around for his teammates. You understand you're supposed to hide, right? Why? You said the goal was to get the 2 bells, right? Naruto just folded his arms and took a defiant stance. Well, yes, that is the goal. So may I have one, please? Taking a step closer, Naruto held out his hand. You have to be kidding, there's no way you're that stupid. Naruto, you're supposed to take them from my belt. Not ask for them. Naruto dropped his hand to his side and nodded. That makes sense. Wouldn't be much of a test if you didn't make us fight, right? Especially after the whole come at me with lethal intent thing, right? Naruto slowly smiled and for some reason, Kakashi felt his blood chill just a little. Just remember, you asked me to kill you. With that his grin widened and he laughed maniacally before dispersing. A shadow clone? Where is he then? Kakashi tried to act casual and flipped out his book. May as well get some reading done. They won't attack for a bit. What was that Baka thinking? Just asked for the bell like that, and what did he mean by Kakashi-sensei asked to be killed? There's no way he can think he could kill him. Sakura spoke to herself silently, trying to reason out what was going through the blonde idiot's mind. I meant I'm going to kill him, Sakura. Naruto's cold voice came from beside her, and she almost squealed before he put a hand over her mouth. Calm down, you asked me a question. I answered it. As for what I was thinking, I wanted to make it easy on him. You can't be serious, Naruto. You can't kill a Jonin. Sakura's harsh whisper was almost too loud and Naruto debated shutting her up, but decided against it. Barely. I can. There's things he's afraid of and I have a good idea what they are. If you trust me, I'll get the other bell and give it to you. Sakura was about to tell Naruto what she thought of that plan when he put a hand to her mouth and added, I'll give the second one to Sasuke. You two can be together all you want. I don't want to deal with teammates that don't want me around. Sakura heard the bitterness in his voice and it only got worse. You hate me. Sasuke puts up with me because I blocked most of you girls from attacking him, and even Kakashi-sensei has made it clear he doesn't want me. So I'll find a way to be in a one-man squad and join. Never mind, that doesn't concern you. His voice had changed when he spoke of joining whoever, but Sakura didn't think about it. Alright, but why are you telling me all this? Sighing, Naruto knew he had to swallow his pride. Even if it was just for a minute or two. I need your help to get the bells. All you have to do. Naruto began to explain the plan, and although Sakura was confused, she nodded that she understood. Good, remember, on my signal. With that, the shadow clone smiled to her and dispersed. Sasuke 5 minutes earlier. You can't seriously expect him to just hand you a bell, loser. You have to be strong enough to get it. Sasuke was disappointed in Naruto's performance. Even as dead last, he had expected some kind of fight between him and Kakashi-sensei. At least enough for Sasuke to analyze the man and attack. I didn't, but I know you're strong enough to get one on your own. Sasuke didn't even bother to glance at Naruto's voice. What do you want? Going to ask if I'll give you the bell I was going to get? Sasuke smirked at his statement, but there was something different in Naruto's eyes. Something that demanded the Uchiha's silence. No, Uchiha, I know what you want, and I'll assure it. Sakura and I will fail the test, and you'll pass alone to get the direct attention of Hatake. Sasuke was more than a little surprised Naruto had already deciphered what it was Sasuke wanted. Alright. What's in it for you? Sasuke wasn't stupid and knew Naruto would likely demand something in return. I get an ally. One that isn't weak and pathetic like Haruno. I'll join another squad and become powerful to attain my dream. It doesn't hurt to know there's someone out there getting stronger with me that I can call in a favor from. Naruto said the entire speech utterly without emotion. Sasuke thought it over, quickly deciding what to do. Agreed, loser. Good. Here's the plan. Sasuke was pretty impressed. The entire layout of the plan would prove within his abilities and would surely fail Sakura. Understood. Sasuke wasn't going to waste any more time. He wanted this done already. Just remember, on my signal. With that, the shadow clone dispersed. Naruto. The clones dispersed, telling Naruto exactly what he suspected. The others didn't care about teamwork. They just cared about what they needed, and what they wanted. Too simple to abuse if you know what you're doing. Alright, Hatake, let's start playing the game. Naruto stood up and walked out into the clearing in full view of the two and their sensei. The game is over, Kakashi-sensei. I've won. Kakashi didn't even glance up from his book. What do you mean by that, Naruto? I don't see you with a bell. Kakashi was as pleasant as always, lightly reached down and jingled the bell. I'm just letting you hold on to them. I don't need them. A few minutes. Thought we could talk. Naruto let out a smile. You're letting me hold them? Well, that's awfully kind of you. Sure, let's talk. Kakashi set the book in his bag. What would you like to talk about? My demon. Naruto spoke casually, but he knew he was treading on light ground. Or are you not allowed to say anything still? Don't my teammates have a right to know what I am? Kakashi thought over his next words carefully. What you are is Naruto, so that's up to you to tell them. Tell us what, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi turned to Sakura's voice. Shit! Asked Naruto. You know the story better than I do, so why don't you tell all three of us the whole story? Sasuke appeared as Naruto mentioned there being three of them to explain to. Besides, I don't know if they would believe me on the whole demon thing. Demon? Baka, what are you talking about? You a demon? You must be mistaking the term demon for loser. Sakura and Sasuke's skepticism was understandable, but Sakura seemed to be acting, which to Kakashi was strange. Alright, guess I can explain pretty simply. The Kyuubi is inside Naruto. Why you mean he has a DDD demon inside him? Sakura's stutter was real, as Naruto hadn't actually mentioned being the container of the Nine Tails. Yes. It's inside of him, and there's no worries about it getting out. Kakashi tried to reassure her with kind words and a calm attitude. Naruto had other plans. He needed her to be hysterical, or at least believably close. Don't lie now, Kakashi. Everyone knows there's a way to unseal something. Besides, as a demon and the most powerful one at that, wouldn't it want out? Naruto began circling around Kakashi and Sakura went to Sasuke's side. Naruto, what do you mean, it wants out? Let me say it like this: I put you in a cage, Sakura. And it's a strong cage, mind you, and the only way you'll ever get out is to punch the wall. Thinking for a second, Naruto added, and once you are out, you get your heart's desire. Tell me, would you punch the wall? Even if it took all day, every day for years, would you punch that wall? Well, yeah, I guess, but what does that have to do with the demon and the seal? Naruto stopped walking and started laughing. Slowly and madly, Naruto began to laugh. The smartest kunoichi in the class didn't get it, but the dead last caught it. He laughed even harder. I am that cage. The Kyuubi is the prisoner, and this village's utter destruction is the desire it has. It won't just punch the cage, it'll claw, bash, and slam against it until it has a hole big enough to get out. Naruto was expecting Sakura to flip out, but it was oddly satisfying to see her completely lose her mind. Even if this was all going according to plan, he enjoyed the feeling of seeing someone else squirm under his words. That can't be true, it can't get out, Kakashi-sensei, tell me it can't be true. She ran up to Kakashi and started demanding over and over to hear it wasn't true. It's fine, Sakura, there's no way it can get out. The seal can't be broken that way. Kakashi was fishing for something to try and reassure the hysterical young woman when Sasuke walked to her and put a hand on her shoulder. She immediately got stiff, and Sasuke looked away from them as he said softly, Sakura, calm down. It's okay, the seal will hold all right? Now please let go of Kakashi-sensei. In all her hysteria, Kakashi hadn't even noticed she had grabbed onto his jacket. And there we go. Game's over, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto's voice had returned to a calm and relaxed state, and his smile went from batshit crazy to just crazy happy. Naruto, you don't have a bell again. Kakashi went to jingle the two bells but was rewarded with a hand full of nothing. No, I don't, but then neither do you. With his wide grin, he walked over to Sasuke and Sakura, each jingling a little bell. We couldn't fight you, you'll win. Alone we stood no chance, scratch that. Sasuke may have had one. The combined glare of his two teammates had made him restate the last bit. But together, we might be able to just scrape by tricking you. Kakashi was impressed by the teamwork they had shown. So you banded together to get the bells from me? But Naruto, you know that means I can't pass you, right? And I just might fail the other two because they didn't fight. Let's stress the team a little. Like I care. I got promoted by the Hokage, I can get a retest or something, then I'll join the team again anyways. And as a Jonin, I don't think you would cheat just because you lost. I trust you, Kakashi. Don't mistake trust for liking you though. You lead, I'll follow. That the way you treat your dear Anko, huh? Kakashi was pleasantly surprised when Naruto turned red. Who is Anko, Kakashi-sensei? I heard Naruto mention her earlier, but I never met an Anko at the academy. Sakura may not have been into rumors as much as Ino, but she did like to know what was going on. Anko is Kakashi was about to explain just who she was when he could clearly feel Naruto's glare. Anko is the person who helped me train. She looked after me ever since I was 5. Naruto looked down at the grass thinking about what else she had done for him. He really didn't know what to add to that. Then she sucked at training you, didn't she? You're the dead last of the academy. How horrible does she have to be? Sasuke's words were cut off when Naruto hit him in the jaw, sending him into the air and making him land a few feet away flat on his back. Sakura hadn't even seen him move. Kakashi wasn't quite as shocked. He had been about to warn Sasuke not to say anything about Anko when he had seen Naruto get to his feet and rush Sasuke much faster than he should have been capable of. Where did he get this burst of speed? Sasuke-kun! Sakura had snapped out of her confusion and ran to him. Naruto Baka, why did you hit him? Sakura glared daggers at Naruto, pissed he had even dared to strike the Uchiha. What would you do if someone told you Sasuke was pathetic? Think you would hit them? Naruto was calm once again. Of course I would, but that's because I'm in love with Sasuke-kun. Sakura cradled his head, trying to make him comfortable. Sasuke groaned slightly and sat up. What the hell hit me? Sasuke looked confused at Naruto and Sakura. I just remember saying something about how horrible a teacher this Anko must have been when I got hit by something. Say one more bad thing about Anko, you'll need a hospital. Naruto's voice was cold as he glared down at the Uchiha prodigy before him. You only hit Sasuke because he wasn't ready for it, Naruto Baka. Sakura was fast to defend her beloved. Sasuke wasn't one to take an insult though. I'll need a hospital, loser? You already admitted I'm better than you and Sakura. Sasuke stood up and glared at Naruto. Kakashi debated stepping in, but he was wondering if Naruto could back up his words. Fine. Spar with me. Here and now, and if you win, I'll let you say anything you want about Anko. If I win, you'll never say a thing about her again. Understood? Naruto's voice was as cold as ice. You're on. Loser. Sasuke had a smirk as he added the last part as more of an afterthought. I am an avenger, you're the pathetic dead last of the academy. You'll lose here, Naruto. Stepping towards away from the forest, they each went to one side of the training ground and faced each other. Naruto took the basic academy fighting stance, Sasuke took the classic Uchiha fighting stance. A breeze blew through the training ground, making the grass wave and some of the leaves to stir from the nearby tree. The green leaves fell between them for a moment, their gazes catching the same leaf, and watched it fall. It danced on the air slowly and finally landed softly between them. That's the moment they both decided to attack. The leaf fell between them and they used it as the signal to start the fight. Both boys rushed for each other, but Naruto held back on his speed. He needed to test the Uchiha first. They reached each other in the blink of an eye and Naruto telegraphed a bunch. Sasuke blocked it easily, and brought his leg up to kick Naruto's exposed ribs. Jumping away, Naruto had enough information on Sasuke's speed. He needed to see what else the Uchiha could do though. At the academy, Naruto hadn't seen the full extent of what Sasuke was capable of. He only knew how hard he could hit from their occasional sparring. Using a few simple hand signs, Naruto cried out, wind style, air bullet jutsu. 3 pellets of air flew towards Sasuke, the only visible part of them being the wake they left behind. Sasuke smirked and Naruto knew he had made a mistake. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Oh shit. The ball of flame had started off quite small as Sasuke hadn't fed much into it, but as the condensed air hit it, it doubled in size as it engulfed the first 2 bullets, and the third didn't add much to it, leaving the projectile about the size of storage shed. Using his speed, he easily dodged it but mentally berated himself for forgetting the Uchiha's coming-of-age jutsu. So he's got fire style at least and a decent taijutsu, no more surprises I hope. Bringing his hands together the same as before, Naruto unleashed another barrage of 5 projectiles. Come on, take the bait. Sasuke laughed as he saw the same wind technique that had fed his flames earlier with only more shots this time. Idiot. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Sasuke smirked as the fireball he had released became as large as a small apartment. Guess this fight is over. The fireball suddenly exploded into a ball of steam that swept back towards Sasuke and blanketed the area. What the hell? Where did the water come from to burst my jutsu? Looking around, Sasuke tried to listen for some indication of attack from Naruto. He didn't expect the fog around him to suddenly fall away in 3 places and to be hit rock-hard pieces of air. Throwing a kunai into the direction the blast had come from, Sasuke waited for another indication of where Naruto was hiding in the mist. Even if I just wait a few more minutes, this steam will be gone. I can deal with a few blasts of air until then. Closing his eyes, Sasuke listened for some disturbance in the air to tell him that another attack was incoming. To say he was a little surprised when he was suddenly yanked into the ground up to his neck was an understatement. Naruto popped out of the ground not too far from the buried Sasuke. So Sasuke, I think you've lost this one. Care to forfeit? He gave a light smile, hoping that this would be the end of the fight. I won't lose to you. Sasuke broke free of the earth and dived for Naruto, hoping to land some kind of hit against the blonde. Landing a solid blow to Naruto's jaw, the Naruto before Sasuke burst and he was left all alone. A clone? Looking left and right, the steam had nearly cleared and Sasuke could make out the orange of several jumpsuits. Give up, Sasuke, it's not a loss. Just call it a favor for your new teammate. One of the shades of orange yelled out the suggestion from the side. In your dreams, loser. Bringing together his hands, flared up another fireball but instead held the chakra and blasted a flamethrower to burn away the rest of the steam. Damn, that's too bad, Sasuke. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this. Sasuke surveyed each of the Narutos standing before him. 5 clones. Why exactly 5? If he has the chakra, shouldn't he have made more to end this fight properly? What were you hoping not to do? Waste your chakra on clones that can't even take a punch? Sasuke figured he may as well try and goad Naruto into losing the fight by rushing and angry like he had done so many times before. Not quiet. Something a little more dramatic, I guess you would call it. The Naruto directly in front of Sasuke spoke, drawing his attention. Dramatic? What the hell is he talking about? 2 of the clones to the side of Sasuke put together their hands and called out at the same time, Earth style, enclosing wall. Smooth, curved walls appeared around Sasuke, easily 20 or so feet high. This is what he thinks is so dramatic? A curved high wall? Leaping up towards the wall, he grasped a small exposed stone that the wall was littered with and turned to make the rest of the jump. Looking up, he saw Naruto taking a deep breath, preparing to fire more of those air bullets Sasuke had dealt with earlier. Jumping to meet Naruto, he put his hands together and started a torrent of flame. A torrent of water hit them, quickly getting rid of the flame and dropping Sasuke back into the pit with a good amount of water as well. 2 more Narutos joined the first at the top and each threw together the same hand signs and spewed water into the pit, but they were hitting the walls and creating a vortex in the center. It didn't take Sasuke long to figure out that the walls once coated with water became slick and muddy, making it difficult to get a hold, let alone climb it. With the water rising quickly and spinning, he could feel the pull of the water trying to drag him to the center. Sasuke wasn't a fool and he knew the suction at the center would likely pull on him and tried to keep him at the bottom as the water rose. Digging into his pouch, Sasuke grabbed 2 kunai and stabbed them into the wall as an anchoring point. Without the dizzying movement of the forming whirlpools, Sasuke had some time to think. He debated whether it would be better for his pride to drown and be saved or just admit defeat. He decided to go down fighting. From his anchored position, he easily threw 2 shurikens into the Narutos he could see and was rewarded with their dispersion. Doesn't matter, Sasuke, I wasn't filling it to the top, I've got what I need down there. The last Naruto spoke in a tone that seemed marginally bored. Just a quick field question. Sasuke, do you know how to electrify water? You can't just use fresh water like that created by a jutsu. Stuff is way too pure, you'd have to be touching the person you want to shock. Now if you let some minerals get into the water, now that's an interesting concept. There's no way you've learned any lightning jutsu along with wind, water, and earth. That's just impossible. Sasuke wasn't confident on what was or wasn't anymore. Naruto had done things he was sure that no mere genin should be able to accomplish. Really, Naruto said it in a quiet voice and instead opted to let the technique speak for itself. Pumping as much of his natural chakra into his hand as he could manage, it started to spark and then electricity danced across his hand. Anko had properly taught him how to use the other 3, but he had discovered depending on what he wanted, he could pump enough raw chakra into his body and get the desired element. He wasn't sure how it worked, but it drained his chakra extremely rapidly. The most he had been able to hold had been wind in the palm of his hand for 2 minutes. Each of the other elements only lasted a minute, but lightning had drained him in 15 seconds before. Slamming the electrified hand into the wet earth, Naruto hoped he got the desired result, otherwise he was going to pass out from chakra exhaustion and lose this duel. Sasuke felt the full blast of the electricity that had been in Naruto's hand, getting it amplified by standing in water up to his waist. The last thing Sasuke saw was Naruto as the electricity made him black out. What are you? His last thought following him into the darkness. I am Victor by knockout Kakashi. You might want to rush us both to the hospital. As Naruto spoke, he felt the onset of chakra exhaustion. He had only one thing left to do before he could surrender to the darkness though. Using the chakra of his 2 dispersed clones, Naruto turned the structure into mud and had the training ground restored to its previous state, sort of. Least I fixed the holes. Naruto smiled as he fell forward, landing face first in the grass, and on the water that poured from the gone structure. Sasuke fell back and landed facing the sky. Good he didn't drown. Naruto then let the darkness take him. Kakashi and Sakura. They had both been watching the fight and were completely surprised by what Naruto had accomplished. Kakashi had to tell the Hokage after getting them to the hospital. Somehow Naruto had found a way to use 4 of the 5 basic chakra natures, and his knowledge of the Kyuubi was worrying. Something didn't seem right about it. Sasuke-kun. Sakura had finally stopped being dazed and ran to the boy, checking him to see if he was alright. He was breathing and seemed fine, but cloth immediately attached to any metal had been charred and the bag that had held his kunai and shurikens had a nasty black hole burned through it. Cradling Sasuke, Sakura checked his heart rate and a few other things. She had been taught the basics of first aid care. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura looked to her leader and wondered, can we trust Naruto? He just attacked Sasuke over something stupid, and is it really only a matter of time before he loses and then we'll all die? Kakashi-sensei, is Naruto staying on our team? He could easily hear the fear in her voice, and sighed. This had been the exact reason the Hokage had forbidden anyone from telling the young genin he may have been assigned with to a squad. This is the fear. We can't let Naruto see. If he sees any more behavior like this, we just might lose him completely. I can't let that happen. Sakura, head to the hospital to get some medicine. He'll be fine. Make sure you tell no one of the details of what happened here and what Naruto said about his seal. Do you understand? Kakashi prayed. The young girl really did when she nodded and took off into the distance. Kakashi did what he could for his 2 young students, and wondered if the 2 of them really would be alright.